Shall we start now, sir?
Yeah. एक बार मैं नवीन सर से पूछता हूँ कि whether Mr. Agarwal is there or not.
हाँ.
Or he may take a little time.
Yeah. Good morning, sir. Shah sir, good morning.
Yes, Professor Parsi, we can start.
Yes, sir. Shah sir, good morning. With the permission of chair, a pleasant good morning to all of you. I, Rajendranath Parsi, Assistant Professor, SVKM, NMIMS, MPSTME Center for Textile Function, Shirpur campus, take privilege to host welcome ceremony of Management Development Program on Entrepreneurship Development in Textile, organized by SVKM, NMIMS, MPSTME Center for Textile Function, Shirpur. We are honored to have with us Chairman of the program, respected Sir Dr. Akshay Malhotra, Director, NMIMS, Shirpur campus, and respected Sir Dr. Arup Rakshit, Associate Dean, Center for Textile Function, Shirpur. The eminent speakers from various government bodies, textile industries, and professors. Mr. S.P. Verma, Joint Textile Commissioner, Mumbai, Mr. Sachin Arora, Sir, Executive Director, Textile Machinery Manufacturer Association, India, Mrs. Devanshi Shinde, Chairperson and Managing Director, DS Product, Mumbai, Dr. Mehak Kapoor, Assistant Professor, Business Environment and Strategy, NMIMS, Praveen Dalal School of Entrepreneurship and Family Business Management, Mumbai, and Professor Prafull Kolte, Assistant Professor, Center for Textile Function, Shirpur. And as a special guest, Mr. Naveen Agrawal, sir, Mr. Rashmi Shah, sir, and Jigna ma'am, with editor and publisher of Textile Value Chain. On the behalf of SVKM, NMIMS, MPSTME, Center for Textile Function, Shirpur, I extend my heartiest welcome to all dignitaries, participants, colleagues, and my dear students in today's management program on entrepreneurship development in textile. As all of us know, entrepreneurship can be considered a national asset, and entrepreneurs are the driver of that asset for any country. It is a dynamic process that not only increases the wealth, but can also create the value that results in improved well-being. Entrepreneurship plays an important role in changing society, so it seeks to cultivate, motivate, and remunerate these greatest assets to the greatest extent possible. In entrepreneurship, unutilized resources, labor, capital are utilized most effectively. Entrepreneurs take on risk in the hopes of making profit, or in the case social entrepreneurship, of solving the problem facing by community. So the significance of entrepreneurs and the role of entrepreneurship go beyond the business world. The importance of entrepreneurship is so broad. However, entrepreneurship plays a very crucial role in economic development and society. So how entrepreneurship accelerates economic growth? By creating new products, services, new jobs, and opportunities, utilizing the existing resources in most effective way. How entrepreneurship promote the innovation? Entrepreneurship can promote research and industrial development. Whether entrepreneurship develop and improve the existing enterprises, how the market identification can be done on the basis of customer needs, pros and cons being an entrepreneur, and how to develop the women entrepreneurs and as well as entrepreneurship. So the current management program has been conceived keeping this background in the view. Therefore, the topic of today's program is a key factor to develop effective entrepreneurship. This program will deliberate upon those topics which need to understood by the students, new entrepreneurs, and stakeholders of entrepreneurship. The eminent speaker from various government bodies, textile industry, professors will share its valuable knowledge in today's management program. So let me summarize the program before starting the inaugural session or inaugural address. The expert sessions are scheduled from 11 a.m. to 1:15 a.m. and afternoon session will start 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So followed by concluding session and participant feedback and vote of thanks. So I request to all to be with us in the program. Now I would like to request Dr. Arup Rakshit sir. Kindly unmute, sir, please.
Very good morning.
Now I would like to request Dr. Arup Rakshit sir, Associate Dean, Center for Textile Function, Shirpur, for inaugural address. Sir, please.
Very good morning to all of you, distinguished speakers of the program for today. Special invitee, Mr. Rashmi Shah, who is the Board of Studies member of our department. Mr. Naveen Agarwal, well-wisher and patron for the department, I should say, from ATE Enterprises. The speakers, especially I'd like to mention the senior most person, Mr. SP Verma, Mr. Sachin Kumar, and President Dr. Mehak. Good morning. So I'm seeing you for the first time, of course, and we're interacting. She belongs to the NMIMS family, and this is for the first time in our series of 5th program. We have got the support of NMIMS's faculty member to be a part with us. We also have.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
Thank you, ma'am. And secondly, Ms. Debanshi Shinde, who will be presenting the case study as a woman entrepreneur. Okay, her introduction by the coordinator of this program, as well as she herself, will talk about it, that what she has done so far and where she is today. So all the other participants, I'm extremely happy for the participants, nearly around 80 participants on board at the moment. I'd like to communicate to all the participants, kindly keep your microphone off and put your video on, camera on, so that at least for some time we will be able to see all of you here. And then we will, you can keep your camera on for all the time. No issue at all. It will be very pleasant for us to see you there, so that we can also feel, that, okay, somebody is there at the other end to listen to me. So coming back to the topic of the day, or before that, let me tell you one thing. We are unfortunate that today our campus director, Dr. Akshay Malhotra, will not be available due to his extreme appointments suddenly. So he has regretted and sent a message that I should on his behalf, I should congratulate all of the participants and all the speakers for the program. So next time, so all of you, see, we are maintaining a process that, okay, in every program, whoever will be the speakers for the program or the participants, we will keep on mailing them our future programs. So therefore, kindly join us in our future programs and, do listen to the address of Dr. Akshay Malhotra. He is an extremely dynamic person and very balanced in, organizing, and a good leader for all of us to take the Shirpur campus ahead, I should say. And that's how we are missing him today. Otherwise, it was a pleasant listening for 5 minutes. He speaks, and these 5 minutes speaks a lot about our motivation to the task, motivation to the work, and involvement to the deliverables for the institute. Entrepreneurship. I think now the era has come in India where we are not the job seekers, we should be the job providers. Today's sessions will certainly deliberate and give information about how to go about it. Our senior students even the persons, those who are the practicing professionals, all of them are now getting involved. We have seen examples in the earlier days that, okay, couple of our colleagues, okay, they do a specific job, but at the same time, they in parallel, they run some kind of business processes. But today it has come and gradually they switch over to the business process, leaving the set job. Today, the things are changing heavily. When I joined this particular department, I could find that a boy who has passed out around 5 to 6 years before, in Shirpur area only, he has put up a RMG, ready-made garment manufacturing unit. Very small. He started with a very small things, but within 2 to 3 years, he has progressed so big that he himself says that I am pretty happy, sir, with the turnover of what I am doing. So without quoting any value or the figure, this particular statement speaks for it that, okay, there are scopes. Our earlier program was a ready-made garment process, and therefore his input was an extremely important part of our program. He has also interacted with our current senior most the final year batches also, and expressed that how he could build up his business process. Today, similar such deliverables will be coming from the first speaker, Madam Devanshi Shinde, who will be talking about her acumen as a case study. We'll listen to her. So this is what is happening. Today, Government of India is also changing with their approach, their support to the industry and the masses as in general. Mr. Verma has been invited. I am pretty happy and feeling proud that, sir, you are with us today and will definitely be guide the entire group of people, those who are joining the program, that how to go about it with the support of Government of India. So all these things will definitely enrich the knowledge base of the participants, those who are either the students or practicing professionals or even the senior people. I'll come to Mr. Sachin Arora. So once again, I thank you very much to join us. And he is now Executive Director for a very important segment of the textile industry is the Machinery Manufacturers Association. Textile Machinery Manufacturers Association is an apex body which gives a lot of support to the current machinery manufacturing industry. If we look at the textile entire value chain, we have everything in place, but there are a couple of things we all agree. We should agree that the machinery is a major question. Yes, I agree. I do agree that the processing machineries have taken a little more shape. Weaving preparatory machineries have taken its shape to a large extent. However, there is a big gap. We all agree, and I'm sure that Mr. Arora's guidance, of course, today's topic will be more on marketing because he is basically a person from that marketing background, and he will be able to speak and support, give the glimpses that what one should do and one should not do. So these kind of things. But however, on behalf of the forum, I would like to address him that, okay, sir, please take it ahead that so that the machinery manufacturing process or the R&D for that should be more, rigorous or more, concrete. And Mehak is also a very, very young and junior faculty member of NMIMS. But Mehak, I am pretty happy that the design thinking or the strategy, these are the newly coined words, but the concepts are actually getting ripe or getting matured quite a bit in recent days. So therefore, please address the audience in such a way that they can also understand how to adopt and adapt this concept and the process. That's what I expect from your side. So, and the last one, the today's entire content of the program, it has been supervised. I'm pretty happy and a little bit, but I say soft about this particular person, our own colleague from the department, Dr. Praful Kolte. Sorry, he's not yet doctor, but will be very soon. So Mr. Professor Praful Kolte will be sitting once again a case study that in this region of the North Maharashtra, Shirpur region has a lot of products which are using agro-textile materials. So he has taken, to some extent, a case study, I should say, that what Shirpur region wants to do and what is their practices, and wonderfully given a coverage about the greenhouse approach and other textile materials, covers, mulch mats, and so forth. So let us listen to him and find out that what he is going to say about this particular region where these businesses are being practiced as well. We have taken, honestly speaking, that our purpose of this particular paper is to keep you intimated about that how we are thinking and how we are going to promote this kind of concept to the local agriculturists, those who are practicing or cultivating these products. So papaya is a major, papaya, banana, you are all aware of it. And we will listen to him and we'll find out that how the things are going here in this region. A special mention to two persons, and I will invite Mr. Rashmi Shah to speak a few words about today's program. And I want to see on screen Madam Jigna Shah, who is from Textile Value Chain. Madam, if you have kept your video open, I don't know, I'm not getting you here. So Madam Jigna Shah, also, please, you are invited. If you have 2 minutes to speak about anything, your association with CTF will be pretty happy. I think I give it to the coordinator, Professor Parsi, once again to invite Rashmi sir with a small introduction and his association as Board of Studies member here with us. Thank you. Enjoy the program for the day. Thank you so much once again. Bye. Sir, keep your microphone on. Sir,
yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for encouraging to all our participants with your valuable words. As Dr. Rakshit sir has already told, unfortunately, our most distinguished personality, respected sir, Dr. Akshay Malhotra, Director NMIMS Shirpur campus, is not with us to his busy schedule for today's program. But he always motivated us by inspiring the words and take to us in a new light. Thanks to our director, sir.
Professor Parsi, I apologize for one thing of which I missed. I think we also like to invite our patron, Mr. Navin Agarwal. He was on the drive, but he was visible.
Yeah, he is visible, sir.
Navin, are you there on the line, please, Navin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm.
Okay, so if you are comfortable now, you can
my
share a few words
and
with us.
Still on drive. Yeah, okay. So first of all, thank you very much. As usual, that I am a part of all the MDPs and other program of NMIMS. It's privilege to me. And today's your topic is fantastic to know. I would relate entrepreneurship also as another word is the professionalism. I think that both go hand in hand in and the need of the day and tomorrow for any company to be successful and systematic in running the show. I know all the eminent speaker, particularly Mr. Verma. He is carrying all sort of knowledge along with Mr. Sachin Arora. I think no need to explain much about all these dignitaries and other speakers and all. So wishing all the best to all the students and faculties and those who are attending this program and all the speakers. So thanks for inviting me. I cannot talk much because still I am on the seat next to driver. But I'll try to hear you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your valuable thoughts and opinions. Thank you, sir. Now I would like to request Shah sir to speak about some few words about entrepreneurship. Sir, please. Shah sir.
Put your microphone on.
Please unmute yourself.
Able to see Shah sir? Yeah.
Sir, please unmute yourself. Shah sir, unmute yourself.
Yes, now it's okay.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It's a nice topic, and probably all of you must be seeing the Shark Tank. So that will give more importance to all students. They will know what is business. I will not go much into detail, but then the few very important things which we can have for the entrepreneurship is perseverance, the clarity of thoughts, some knowledge of finance, and hard work. And in textile, there are very few startups coming now, but I'll give you a few examples where there are maybe relevant or not relevant, but in a few sectors, very small companies are there. Just like Ola, Uber, a team can start a maintenance. Suppose they have a 10 looms, 15 looms, why to keep a maintenance team? A central maintenance team on call, the team can go maintain them, come out, have some problem, come out. So this is just an idea I thought yesterday. I said, let me share with you. So thank you very much for inviting me. I'll definitely listen to the all distinguished participants, and it will increase my thought process. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Rakshit sir, shall we proceed for our first session?
Yeah, we will, but we have little 10 minutes time in hand because Dr. Akshay Malhotra was not there in the process. I just keep this particular session for this period. It's open to all. Be little more informal and you will speak out. I will try to address Verma sir in the beginning. Mr. Verma, if you can just share a few words before your turn comes to give your lecture. That's a different thing altogether. Unmute yourself, yeah.
Dr. Rachit, other professors of the Shirpur College, students of the college and other friends. It is my pleasure to share my thoughts on a topics selected by your college. As already told by Dr. Rachit, that government is very much taking various steps to encourage the entrepreneurs for installing the state-of-art technology, so that with the quality and production, we can. Just a moment, there is a call. Just.
Yeah, please.
Meanwhile, in this budget, there is around 283 crores fund is allocated, and there is a fund of fund. It's more than even 10,000 crores. I think we should have some ideas to utilize it and be a pioneer in utilizing those funds.
That's true. Sure.
Sorry, sir. Sorry to everybody. There was some interruption. As the topics of the today's program is entrepreneurship related program. In my opinion, entrepreneurship nothing just like a risk takers. एक हमारे यहाँ पे हिंदी में कहावत है, कबीर दास जी ने बोला, जिन ढूंढा तिन पाइया गहरे पानी पैठ, मैं बपड़ा बूढ़न डरा रहा किनारे में. People who will take a big deep in the water, they can only find the any kind of marvels or any kind of prestigious stones. But if I will sit inside, just in the bank of the river, we cannot find such kind of things. So entrepreneurship is like that only. So the people, and particularly new generation, they have to come forward because they are a very risk taker. They are very forward thinking people. So we have to guide them. We have to give them a proper thought process so that they can be build up the new nation in field of textile industry. This is my just initial remarks. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I will just take 1 minute an observation to be shared. जैसे कि मतलब वर्मा जी ने एक मुहावरा बताए हैं, उसी के चलते मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि आज के तारीख में हम लोग ये जो वेबिनार, सेमिनार, ये सारी चीजें जो हम करते हैं ना, फिर इसमें सिर्फ ऐसा नहीं है कि हम अंग्रेजी में ही बोलना है. हिंदी हमारी प्यारी भाषा है तो मैं आज के लिए पहली बार मतलब अपनी series of 5 programs, until the 4th program it was strictly in English, no doubt in it. But I believe that let me share with you all the speakers that if you feel comfortable in between, of course, so you can use the typical English. You can use a little bit of Hindi in between, okay, and English will be the main core. That's okay. Sachin, Mr. Sachin, Sachin, if you want to share something about today's program or.
Thank you very much, sir. This program is quite interesting to me because this NMIMS from the management background was always the top 50 management colleges, and while it is associated with textiles industry, I feel that this is appropriate because textile is one of the key industries in the country. Our entrepreneurs, if they learn the nuances of entrepreneurship, marketing, and sales, then there is nothing that can stop them. Like Mr. Verma has mentioned, where there is a way, there is a will. So you can definitely achieve your targets. Definitely, there are some challenges which one needs to keep in mind, whether it is one's risk-taking capability, their target market, or their end consumer. And once the consumer is happy, the business will flow in, and therefore the profitability. So I'm keen and I'm eager to listen to all the eminent speakers, have feedback from the audiences, and also share our experience from the Textile Machinery Manufacturers Association side. Thank you very much.
Madam Mehak.
So first of all, I'd like to thank you for this invitation because design thinking is, of course, a new age topic, if I may say so. It's constantly evolving, and specifically its association with the textile industry, something I'm doing for the first time. So it was very exciting for me to see how I can combine design thinking with the textile industry. And I'm looking forward to seeing the students and understanding from them what is it that they actually know about design thinking and how I can contribute to their understanding of the concept altogether. I mean, we like to talk about customer centricity, we like to talk about customer is king, but are we truly making sure that customer is king, or are we keeping profits as king? So we're going to work around that a little in my session, and I will take that forward with everyone then.
Very nice. Thank you so much. Can I have Professor Kolte on board?
No, sir. He is not on board.
Busy, no? He is in the class.
He is busy.
No problem.
Okay, okay.
Madam Shinde, please share something before you start. Unmute yourself.
Good morning, everybody, and namaste. So I have been here in US for 2 months now. India को बहुत miss कर रही हूँ, लेकिन thank you for this session's invitation. Something feels like home. हिंदी सुनने का बहुत मन करता है और अच्छा भी लगता है हिंदी सुनने के लिए बहुत दिनों बाद. So yes, so I have hopping from industry to industry. डिप्लोमा मेरा टेक्सटाइल में है, मैंने डिग्री बायोमेडिकल इंजीनियरिंग में की और अब मास्टर्स ऑफ साइंस एविएशन फाइनेंस यहाँ पे यूएस में कर रही हूँ. बट बिजनेस मेरा थोड़ा कोर सेक्टर रहा है, हमेशा से एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप थी अंदर. तो 4 साल पहले आई हैव सेट अप yes products, and that's what I have been doing for the past 4 years with my degree and everything else around it. But what I could learn in the past 4 years is that once you know what you do, you can survive the industry, whichever industry in which you are. So अगर आपको पता है आप क्या करना चाहते हो, आपका पिन पॉइंट एरो फोकस सब कुछ अच्छा है, तो आप अपना रास्ता खुद ही बना लेते हो. So that's what I could learn in the past 4 years. Even though you have a formal education or you don't have a formal education in that industry. So
well,
yeah.
Very nice. We will again continue with your official presentation now by 11 o'clock.
All right. All right,
yeah.
sir.
And
so I'll just go ahead and share my screen.
Yeah, just wait for a few minutes. Professor Parsi will introduce you once again formally, so everybody, and then we'll start.
All right. All right.
Mr. Milky is visible. Hello,
Yeah.
Good morning. Mr. Milky is from which location? Any idea? Ethiopia, I believe. Professor Gulani, can you please highlight that he's from Ethiopia? Okay. Okay, lovely. so CU to be here. Milky, he attended our program earlier also. I'd like to share. I would like to share with all of you that a couple of our faculty members, especially these two persons, those who is visible, Mr. Gulhane and Mr. Kolte, they are actually the support to the other universities, one in Ethiopia and the other is in Turkey. So they are also contributing to their subject experts as an expert lecturer for those universities. So it's already 11 o'clock. I would like to invite Mr. Parsi to introduce the first speaker of the day and then start the sessions, technical sessions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Before proceeding to our technical session, I would like to introduce our expert, Ms. Devanshi Shinde. She is the chairperson and managing director of DS Product, Mumbai. Ma'am is the chairperson and she has started March 2018 as an initiative to impart knowledge and hygiene. Besides the textile technology graduate from BJTI Mumbai, ma'am took a step most required in the presence of current MLA Srimati Geeta Jain. She is current MLA of Mira Bhayandar and former First Lady of Maharashtra, Srimati Amrita Fadavnis, on 21st March 2018 and launched DS product at Mumbai. Company has launched with the soul and superstar brand Freedom Astra. It went on the revolution and accessibility and awareness of hygiene for vast number of underprivileged girls with easy available and affordable sanitary pads it manufactures. DS product is vested in social interest sanitary pads for cost so negligible, which is introduced in the local market. It soon started featuring in the most donation and distribution drives around the state for a considerable amount of time. Company captured the market in the domain of interest. Company tied up with the school, orphanages, NGOs, and other such bodies working for a social interest and impart the awareness. After a successful years of hard working with only brand of the product, TS products were called upon and partnership with Gujarat-based MD Hygiene company increased the base from 1 to 4 different brands and a total of 14 variation of the product under them. So totally today, the DS product have achieved a turnover of nearly 10 to 12 lakh rupees on average every month. So I would like to invite Devanshi Shinde ma'am to start the expert session on the topic of women entrepreneurship, a case study. Ma'am, please.
गुड मॉर्निंग और नमस्ते एक बार सभी को वापस से. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen. Just a minute, I'll need a minute. I hope my screen is visible to everybody.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So yes, my name is Devanshi Shinde. I am here in US right now. I have been here for 2 months. I'm studying for my Masters of Science in Aviation Finance. वही क्वेश्चन है कि मैं मास्टर्स ऑफ साइंस एविएशन फाइनेंस पढ़ रही हूँ लेकिन मैं टेक्सटाइल बॉडी पे क्या कर रही हूँ या फिर टेक्सटाइल बॉडी पे क्यों बात कर रही हूँ. So I have my diploma in textile engineering from VJT. I have my degree in biomedical engineering from Vidyalankar and I'm studying my master's right now. So I have been hopping from industry to industry, but what message that I want to convey is for entrepreneurship, you should or you may not necessarily be aware of everything that you want to do in the particular industry, but it's only your will and the way that you discover way for yourself is what's going to help you to make your way into the market and into the industry. So 4 years before from now, on 21st of March 2018, I launched DS products with with only my mom by my side. And the concept was to make a product or penetrate into a industry where it is considered taboo to be spoken back in India. जैसे periods के बारे में ज़्यादा बात नहीं करते, though the product that we use is majorly a textile product, and there have been major players like P&G, Johnson and Johnson producing Whisper and Stay Free like brands for 40-45 years now. And looking at their turnovers, it's like eye-opening. But सबसे bothering चीज ये है कि वो products ना तो इंडिया में मैन्युफैक्चर होते हैं ना इंडिया में बनाए जाते हैं, हर चीज बाहर से आती है. So my understanding was to take this opportunity, manufacture a product, and also maybe fit into the purchasing power capacity of the Indian people. Instead of selling them what the international brands want to sell them, let's just make a product where we can buy them, because we have a lot of population which is still under the average level of income. We should think about them and everybody else also in the society. So the sole agenda was to make a product which can fit into every market cap. But with the time and experience, I also realized that that's not only what I can survive through the market with. So I increased my variety of products, and I'm going to be talking about that more in the next coming slides. Okay. Yep. So I have put this thing on purpose just because I wanted to tell everybody who are listening today, except the speakers, specifically to the students who are listening for all of us and trying to get some knowledge, is that you should know what you do. And I say this because I have been hopping from industry to industry, but I could still do what I wanted to do because I knew what I wanted from the industry, and I wanted to give back back to the industry. So it's majorly upon how you do within the circle so that people start knowing you, noticing you, and also giving a good opportunity where you can outshine and perform and also make your own mark. So it's just about what you know and what you want to do. And it has a lot more to do with what your willing is for. Now the question is what next? This what next has been taught to me by my mom. So my story goes like I have had a drop also in 1 year of my studies. So the day I came back home और मम्मी को बताया कि मम्मी अभी 1 साल तो कॉलेज ही नहीं है, मुझे ड्रॉप है, क्या करना है? तो the next question that she asked me, and that's what have opened my eyes forever, is what's next? आगे क्या? So it's not like everything stops over there. The sun is going to come again back up, and the day is going to come back again up. So you have to keep moving and not being stuck. Anyway, so what's next? I wanted to talk about the 4 years of the journey and breaking down into some parts where I feel I have been changing or learning, and those have been the major turning points for me to have achieved what I have achieved until now. So the first 6 months, what I did with DS products was just trial and error, because I do not belong from a family which has done business. We all have been from either government sectors or private service sectors. So nobody in the family was the one who could guide me, or at least I could learn from them. And neither I was a business major or business studying student in the university that I could know what financials, what marketing strategies, or how am I supposed to place the product, how am I supposed to get the exact consumers, how am I supposed to get the exact distributors or super stockists or the middleman who's going to be helping me to put my product on shelves and the people, like the consumers, could come and buy. So I did not know anything. Like such sort, speaking to schools, speaking to universities, trying to approach the hospitals with only and only one brand, which is Freedom Astra, and that brand product is for 24 MRP, 24 rupees. I could do a little bit, but it wasn't good enough, and it was certainly not good enough for me to go ahead and make a successful business. So in the first 6 months, I just realized that one product is not going to make it. I need to have more in variety and more in price ranges to fit the exact consumers that I want to target. The coming 6 months to 1.5 year has been the major learning and learning time, because how we understand the Indian market to be is sasta matlab sabse acha. It is like that, but it is also not like that, because if you keep the right product with the right price range, then India has the capacity to consume that. If you overprice the product, then it's not going to sell, and if you underprice the product, then people judge over its quality. So these kind of mentalities that people are working around in India, I got to know them, and also had to learn and unlearn and make various strategies. In this period, I also got introduced with the new era of marketing, like the social media marketing, SMS, SEOs, then approaching, or how am I supposed to approach the middleman, like the distributors and the super stockists, how am I supposed to help them to publicize them? Since my brand was not as big as Whisper or Stay Free, or neither did I had that much of money to put in for marketing, I had to be very wise and very strategic enough to use my available funding sources and target the right people. So all of this time, like from 6 months to 1.5 years, has been spent to basically strategize and learn from our own mistakes and unlearn them and learn again the new strategies that we want to take. In this time duration, I also got to know MD Hygiene, another company who is based in Surat. So they also manufacture sanitary pads, but they do not have their own brand. So they just do the job work for people. And that's how I got to know that, okay, for where I was limited, that I had limited number of machines, limited number of capacity to produce on a daily basis. And that's what was my obstacle was for. So I tie up with them so that I could increase my range and also get off my workload of producing number of ranges and get more of placements, more of production on per day basis. So all of this happened in this time. And after that, whatever I learned, unlearned, made strategies that work, strategies that did not work, also have been giving results from 1.5 years to now. It has been a bumpy journey, but yeah, I made it. So for the plan of action that this is like the main stuff where what exactly that I did when I say I did the marketing, or I did I attacked the right consumers or the right retailers or the right outlets. So for the first, price points is a very important concern when you establish a business, and specifically when you are trying to penetrate the market. There are people, or there are big players, big bulls in the market, and they have captured the major cap, and you have to make space for yourself. So the market is already crowded, but you have to make space for yourself. So the major point where you can work, and also the Indian consumer mind works better, is the price point. So if you have a price which is very affordable, you may get into placements soon, but then making the sales is also an important thing, because you just don't want to keep your product on the shelf and not sell it. And also the sale is not complete unless and until you receive the money back from the product that you have given out. It's not just you place on some shelf and you have made the sales. The sale is only complete when you receive the money for that product or that inventory. So increasing the variety in the product, that is keeping products ranging from 6 pads per packet to 40 pads per packet. And it goes from different sizes of L, XL, double XL, triple XL. In short, increasing the variety of the product, increasing the variety in the cost of the product, that is the MRP of the product, and also making some variations in the content of the product depending upon the MRPs and depending upon what product we are targeting for. Variety made it easier for me to target consumers and also give consumers a lot more of options for them to choose from, instead of me giving them just one product and they liking or may not liking it. So increasing the variety in range and increasing variety in the prices helps a lot for me to tackle the individual societies, like from the slums where my 22 MRP product is the most famous, because that's what the ladies can afford for. But However, I also have a 399 MRP product where people from the elite societies of India can buy and spend money. So I tried to target from the elite to the not so privileged, and that's how increasing the product range helped me to target every consumer from the society. Second is the placement. For placement, there are 3 or 4 major options. One is online, but then people who are in this era and millennials are the only one who would buy and shop on online. India also has a lot of I'm so sorry, millennial group, but there are people there are ladies who are from 30 and 35 and above. They do not want to go online and shop for their menstrual pads or menstrual cups. So going for retail outlets and superstores are also a major consumers or major middlemen. The only problem or the major problem, I should not say only, the major problem was to convince them to keep the product, because if there is no consumer to ask for the product, then no retailer is interested to keep the product. I tackled this by using some tactics where social media helped me a little bit, but then I had to go off the track and do my own marketing by letting people know with the brand names, and purposely going and asking to the retailers and the super stockists with my brand names, so that I do the reverse marketing for my products. That was a cheaper way, but it worked. So I asked some people to go and ask for my product names, the brand names, and that used to create buzz in the market. The retailers and the super stockists used to start finding that, okay, the consumer is asking for this product, then let me see in the market if it is at all available or not. So the buzz helped me to tap into the nook and corner of the places, and also it created a buzzword in the market for the brand names, and it helped me a lot. So the placement became easier because people got to know from their mouth-to-mouth publishing, and also our team was working on the SMS and the SEO part. By this time, we had quite some number of followers on Instagram, and also had websites, and we can shop online from the websites also. So this is what placements, what we work for and what we did majorly. The third is the marketing. As I also said before, SMS and SEO. So not just for the brand name, we were also doing publicity for the distributors. That is to target people in a certain amount of area. For an example, if you are a distributor in the Mumbai region, then we would be also making ads and running ads on social media pages about the distributor, because we also wanted people to know that we are available in your district, in your area. Since we do not have that much of budget to create a TV advertisement and let it out on all of the TVs and people will get to know from there, we use this strategy of publishing the distributor or the super stockist, so that people who watch over their phone, watch advertisements on their phones, which I guess everybody is. Not many people are interested to watch TV and the big screens anymore. Everybody's more on their phones. This strategy worked for us because the distributor also had a reassurance that there are consumers that know that brand is available in that area, and that would help them to make some or other placements. And definitely there were schools and other people who were also looking for distributing or charity or orphanages, and they get to know the distributor, and they also take interest in directly purchasing the product from the distributor, of course, for the price ranges. So we are still learning and still figuring out the various ways to tackle the other challenges that we are facing in. But our main agenda is to fit in the consumer spending power capacity, because we understand that sanitary pads or hygiene products are basic necessity, and we need to increase them to a price where people cannot even afford them. So fitting in the spending power capacity of the consumer is a major factor, and our DS product is very much concentrating and putting in their energy to devise some products which are satisfying this necessity. So geographical distribution is where we understood that we are, by the way, majorly present in Pan South India, and we have quite our 60 distributors network in Pan South India. We have been moving to North India from past 6 to 8 months. And what we have observed that since the North Indian section of India still has that a joint family or bigger family or more number of kids in the family, we have observed that the product which are from 399 and or maybe 120 and above ranges, which has more number of pads and it's kind of a big packet. So the consumption of these packets in that area is much more, because it makes sense that people try and buy one product instead of buying 10 products, and also get one product which will be sufficing their needs for maybe 1 or 2 months. So depending upon the geographical distribution, we are concentrating on what kind of ads we are running and what kind of product we are introducing ahead in the market. Yeah, so that's what I was talking when it comes to geographical distribution. Population and diversification is where people in the southern part of India are generally known to be a lot more educated as compared to northern part of India. So letting people know about the importance of this topic and why this topic is not so taboo, but you should speak, and how to have diversification of trying some Indian brands or made in India brands. Convincing these people was a little easier than convincing people in northern part of India, but I am just giving a general specific over here. It's not compulsory that people do follow this. Indians are very more liberal and they understand a lot better. Now, consumer response also depends on what kind of product they like. And because we have such a major range, they can always come again and try some new products, because if some maybe a 45 MRP product did not suffice their need, or every lady has some other kind of response for it. So it really depends on what kind of major response we are getting from that area, and we then devise our marketing plan to put more ads and make that particular product which is selling more in number to be more visible to the product, to repeat orders and to repeat consumptions. So I'm just going to go and a quick recap of what we have achieved until now. In the past 4 years, we have achieved a good network of 60 plus distributors and super stockists in entire India. Majorly of them are concentrated in Pan South India though. 200 plus store network in Pan South India. Government school and orphanages of Maharashtra, we also contest for tenders. We have been taking tenders, and we have successfully completed 1 or 2 tenders, until 2 tenders to be specific, not 1 or 2, 2 tenders to be specific. We will be placed very soon with DMart, and that's what we have been very happy for, that finally a major consumer or major chain has been tapped in from DS product side, and our product is soon going to be in every DMart store. And we will be turning over as close as 1 crore in INR for this financial year. So that's just about some achievements. And this is a personal note from my side to everybody on this panel today, that top of one mountain is bottom of next. So everybody should always keep climbing and not just satisfy themselves with whatever they are doing right now. With this, I'm just going to say thank you for the opportunity. I know I am just 24, 25-year-old, and people on the dais maybe have same amount of experience as old as I am. So to get an opportunity to speak in front of you people is in and by itself an achievement. So thank you, Dr. Rakshit, to be considering me as a good contender to come here. And Ranjit sir, how are you? How are you doing? I wasn't your student. You haven't taught me in the university, but I have seen you in VTTI. So, hi, namaskar आणि लक्ष ठेवा आपलं पण.
Thank you.
All right, sir. Yes. I'll just
Thank you.
go ahead and stop sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Definitely it's a question hour session. So anybody who has some kind of queries, you can please put forward.
There's somebody who's posting, Supreet, how your product reach to distributors.
Yes.
Social media marketing, dear. So social media is the new edge of marketing. You should not go in the olden eras of trying to print posters and put up holdings and do the advertisement marketing on your TVs that take a lot of money. So we have tapped into every consumer through social media, so using Facebook, Instagram, Facebook for majority because, okay, so another topic comes over here. The person who is going to keep the product, that the shelf provider is a retailer, and retailer is definitely going to be over and above the age of 35. That retailer does not understand the Instagram era. They understand Facebook, and Facebook for a limited amount of knowledge. They may or may not even be very, very understood or very, very familiar with the idea of social media marketing. However, people have started noticing stuff. That's what I said. People do not spend more time on their TVs as compared to they spend their time on phones. So anything and everything you want to market, I would strongly suggest to go on social media, get good people who have SMOs and SCOs, that is SMS and SCO, which is SMS is the Instagram, Facebook, and various social media networking sites. And SCOs is your own website, your own Amazon-like websites, which are interactive and you can place your own orders. So if you have these two teams working for your brand, I think pretty much you can tap into every section of this, every nook and corner of India, even better than the olden way of marketing. There's somebody else also posting a question. Where did you get the initial investment and experience in your country? Sir, initial investment, my mom and my parents financed me. And experience is, sir, I had no experience. As I said, I do not belong from a business family. My parents are both from working sectors. They were in service sectors. It was just by God's grace, and it's just God's plan for me that everything has worked out. I am being very honest. I have no answer to this question. My friends also wonder that it's 20, you are 24, you're doing all this good. I'm like, I don't know. It's just God's plan, and it's just me who is trying to work everything out. So experience is only 4-year-old, sir. I'm 24 and the experience is only 4-year-old.
Good, ma'am.
There's somebody else. What are the best websites to find distributors? Shivani, I think there is no website other than Facebook. There's no website. There are platforms like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. LinkedIn not so much, but Facebook and Instagram. You can post reels, you can post shorts. You have to advertise your product for people to notice your product. So distributors come when they notice the product. If they give, we should put that kind of advertisement that we are looking for distributors, and this is our either email ID or phone call number, and people who are looking for expanding their own business in their own areas can call us. So they do make calls, and I have found 60 people, serious 60 people who on social media. So people come up with good way of marketing on social media. What is the process for placing product in DMart? Please share. I cannot give you the entire details because it is where we have to sign the agreement of not giving out the details. But I think what I can tell you is that you have to first of all assure the DMart that you would be able to produce and provide that kind of quantity, because they are a major consumer, and the quantity that they consume on per day basis is a no joke. So first of all, you should take them into consideration. Take yourself into consideration that are you good enough to provide the quantity that they require. If you are good enough, then of course you can approach them. And once you start talking in quantities, you talk a lot less in your profits, and it by default makes the product more affordable. There's somebody else. So how do you decide your price and what basis? Do you have any definite number, like how many number of products should be on a particular shelf? Well, do you decide your price on what basis? Prices just has to be keeping the objective in check, where what kind of consumers are you tapping? If you are going to tap consumers who live in Nepean Road, Mumbai, then they don't even mind spending 500 rupees per packet, because then they would start thinking if it is cheap, it's not good in quality. So if you are tapping that kind of consumer, of course you are going to give the supremest quality because it has got a lot more of range. So prices are solely decided on what kind of consumer you are tapping. If you are tapping the Dharavi slum, then you have to be very, very picky and choosy of what MRP your product are going to be placed in. And how much is a question that I think however much he wants to keep it, I am ready to give that much, because that's going to increase my sales. So however much sales that I increase, I'm making more money. So however much he wants it, I'm going to give that. But jokes apart, I think every retailer consumes anywhere between 3 to 6 dozens of packets in a month. So it's close to 50 to 60. And if you go to a supermarket, then they consume anywhere between 100 to 150 packets a month. And when you add these up in a particular region, for an example, Thane district, if you have got 50 retailers, 50 stores where you place your product in, for an example, you go from 3 dozens into 50, then you can do the math for the number that a district is consuming. So it just really depends on however much they need. To whom do we need to contact in DMart? Okay, so for contacting DMart, you need to first of all be a known brand in the market. At least some people should know about your brand. Secondly, they have their own chain, and I think if you talk to me offline, I can give you a little more of details, because I have signed a contract. I cannot just go ahead and hand out details to a large number of people. But if you want to talk to me, I am available. Just the time difference, but we can work out that. So do you have different price of same products or for different market? No, that's not how it works. If you have different price for the same product in different market, it's not a good business. It's not done like that. There is no uniformity in the brand that you are producing to the consumer. You have to keep in mind the various amount of transportation, various overheads, various up and down in the market that happens with the raw material. You have to take all of this in consideration. When everybody learns about management, I guess everybody's taught about including this cost before you decide on what MRP are you going to give it to the consumers. So I am sure that there's definitely this is not a good business if you keep same product in different price in different markets, because it's not going to work like that. How do you manage your inventory? Like how often and in how many quantities to produce a particular product so that there is either less, not overflow of products? So it really depends on your consumption. In the initial time, I used to produce 10,000 pads per day, and I used to take a week's time to consume that much. That is to sell for people who are ahead in line of me. But now I can sell 10,000 pads in 1 hour.
Oh.
So it's just how good your sales and your marketing and your consumption is. If your consumption is good, you're good with your inventory. Now, talking about how often and in how much quantities to produce a particular product. So it really depends on, again, consumption. If you get to know when you have with the time. For an example, if you are producing 14 different products, but the products of certain MRP are more in sales, you get to know that you have to replenish and keep the products raw material more in stock, because those are major in the consumption. So अगर आपके पास उनका इन्वेंट्री ज्यादा है, उनका कंजम्पशन ज्यादा है, तो आपको उनका रॉ मटेरियल, उनका इन्वेंट्री ज्यादा रखना पड़ेगा स्टॉक में एज कम्पेयर टू एनी अदर, बिकॉज इट मेक्स नो सेंस ऑफ कीपिंग प्रोड्यूसिंग एवरी अदर साइकिल एवरी 14 प्रोडक्ट्स एंड कंजम्पशन सिर्फ 4 का ही हो रहा है, बाकी के 10 तो पड़े हुए हैं, उनका इन्वेंट्री तो पड़ा हुआ है. So you just have to take and be wise enough. And this comes with the time. This experience comes with the time. I have also fallen into this pit of having inventory which is not selling so fast. But you learn this with time. Oh, can I please share my contact number? I would ask.
No.
I would not mind sharing my email ID. So if you want to come speak to me, I think I can reply you on my email. So I will post it on the section later.
Yes, Speaker, I have hello.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yeah. I want to share some observations from my side with the speaker as well as the audience. Number one, these kind of forums, I mean, the question regarding DMart, I would like to alert all of my attendees. Do not try to push a question which has a professional secret. So
we signed NDA contract, so I cannot give.
Therefore, madam, I would suggest you, and these kind of forums sometimes keep many things, in an embarrassing position for the speakers also. Getting their contact numbers or contacting before these things. Of course, the speaker agrees to do that. That's a different story altogether, but possibly route through the event organizer. I mean, to say the CTF, that will be better. In the sense, whether the speaker sometimes feel difficult to defend that, okay, I'll not be able to answer this, but this will be the person. So ultimately, these kind of things, all the listeners, please avoid. It happens mostly in the case of marketing related issues, and secondly, research related issues. Of course, we are not in that forum of research related. I have seen there are a lot of situations happens when a scientist delivers a research outcome. Then the questions of temperatures, question of concentrations, question of the particular chemical comes into picture, which is very embarrassing. Let me share one experience. A couple of months ago, we had one program on textile chemistry related. There was one presenter who had patented his technology with a claim that, okay, it saves water. Now, obviously, if he has patented or applied for the patent, he is unwilling to share the, internal informations. But in other way around, I think the same kind of situation happened here also. So therefore, all the listeners, please put forward your question to us if it is possible. Otherwise, we will share with the speaker. If the speaker feels comfortable, then we will get the answer, no doubt in it. Okay, thank you very much for this particular thing. And secondly, I'm not getting any other in the chat box is free. Okay, there are two things I want to ask the current speaker also. We have 2 minutes to go before it is 11:45 for the next speaker. Madam, how could you manage to get machineries here? And secondly, the raw material for your production, because if you have to make a premium product, your raw material should be of that quality. So how could you manage that, please? We don't require company's name or something. What are the sources? How could you manage it?
Yes, I import it, sir. Right now, there is nobody in the market who can produce as good as the things that I am getting outside of India. It's majorly in the East Asia. So right now I have imported my automated machines and importing my raw material. But of course, people are coming in the market with good quality of products. the price point is a fighting point where I also have to control, because if I spend a lot more on the raw materials, then the products are going to be expensive. So that's the only price point and the only point where we are working now. So if that's in check and if that goes in place in the next 2 or 3 years, if the raw material providers here in India can give us as good as amount of what I imported, then I think it would be 100% of made in India products. So right now we are importing. Yes.
Thank you. Professor Parsi.
Thank you, ma'am.
So there's just one more question. I just don't want to leave them out. It's from Milky. If I'm taking their name right, I'm sorry if I mispronounce it. But do you recommend any variety or more variety to be sustainable? So to be sustainable, I think since we are talking about one specific product, which is a sanitary wear product, you should always have more of varieties. Because if it's like buying groceries, then groceries have already good varieties. So you need about what a person wants to pick up. But this is what I understand from. So if you are producing only one product, giving more varieties will increase your chances and your probabilities of making sales. So yes, I would recommend, and I would also say that to be sustainable as a business, you should have varieties. And only one variety is okay, but then if you increase your varieties, you become more sustainable in the market for yourself. And then, Devanshu, do you have any plans to sell a product? Of course, sir. Why not? Who would not want to increase and expand their business? Of course, I want to.
Yeah.
All right. If there's any opportunities, I think we should reroute ourselves and connect through the CTO. And if there's any needed necessary things and necessary information, we both can get in touch. Thank you for the opportunity, though.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. आपने आपके लाइफ स्टोरी के साथ उद्योग और उद्योजकता, ये दोनों चीजों में जो तालमेल दिखाया, जो हमारे बच्चों ने जो आपकी ये पूरा सेशन सुना मैडम, so let us hope they will take positive. So my sincere thanks goes to you and for your detailed discussion, not only on women entrepreneurship, but whole entrepreneurship with respect to pros and cons, being as a women entrepreneur or entrepreneurship. So we are very much confident that you have imparted very valuable knowledge and experience with our participants. Thank you very much.
I would take a leave right now because it's 1:15 a.m. here in now. So I'm sorry to not listen to everybody else, but I may see the recording in near future.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Namaste. Bye-bye.
Namaste.
Thank you very much.
Sir, shall we proceed for second session now? The time is for second session. Before starting the second session, I would like to introduce our expert speaker, Mehak Kapoor ma'am. Dr. Mehak Kapoor, sorry. She is Assistant Professor, NMIMS, Praveen Dalal School of Entrepreneurship and Family Business Management, Mumbai. Ma'am has been completed Master in Law, specifically in Corporate Law. She is Gold Medalist for securing first rank in LLM in 2015-16 from NMIMS, Kirit P. Mehta School of Law, Mumbai. Now she is working as an Assistant Professor, Business Environment and Strategy in NMIMS, Praveen Dalal School of Entrepreneurship and Family Business Management, Mumbai, and she is the Program Chairperson of BBMM, that is Bachelor of Business Management and Marketing. She is specialized in startup thinking, design thinking, legal aspect of business. She is independently helping startups and entrepreneurs to transform their ideas into implementable business strategies. Ma'am, please, you can start your session.
Thank you so much, Professor Parsi, for that introduction. Truly grateful that I can come back to my own university where once I was a student and actually come back and be a professor and be part of this elite team and actually be able to speak on something on a big platform like an MDP. Thank you, Professor Rakshit, for giving me this opportunity. I'm truly humbled by this. I'll take this session further. The topic that I chose for the MDP today, I remember having a conversation with Dr. Rakshit when he told me that we're looking to do something with startups and entrepreneurship. So I remember at that point of time, I had requested Dr. Rakshit, if it's possible, can I introduce the term design thinking at that time? So I think it was a very hearty conversation that we had at that point of time. And he said, sure, why not? I mean, design thinking is something that's so new and very few people have heard of it. And that's when I realized that this is going to be an exciting opportunity, specifically in terms of something as new as textiles, something that I haven't dealt with before. But yes, in preparing for this particular MDP, there's so much that I came across, which I will share with you in the upcoming slides. For the overview for today's MDP, couple of things that I would like to go ahead with. First of all, I would be introducing design thinking to you. I would be talking to you about what exactly is design thinking and why we also fascinated by this so-called complex term design thinking. We'll try and understand a couple of mindsets that are essential to the entire concept of design thinking. Rather, these are also key concepts or key mindset requirements for an entrepreneur as well. And that is where I feel design thinking and entrepreneurial mindset overlap. Third, I will speak to you about the various stages of design thinking. It's actually a process that can be undertaken, and I'll give you a brief overview on the standardized stages of design thinking that are practiced globally. Fourth, we'll speak more specifically about textiles and design thinking, and I'll try and give you an idea of how you can use design thinking not just in product development, but also actually marketing your product to your customer. Lastly, I would be more than happy to take up questions from you all, and I would encourage you all to ask me questions so that we can have a more profound discussion. Okay, with this, I'll take it further now. So when we talk about design thinking, what exactly is design thinking? I'm sorry, I was trying to take the screen onto slideshow mode, but I'm not able to for some reason. So pardon me on that. I'm going to keep it on this screen level itself. Professor Parsi, could you help me? Is the screen visible clearly? Okay, I'll go ahead.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so essentially now let's look at the definition of design thinking. Design thinking is a process of creative problem solving. It starts with the people and their needs. So we're used to, like I said in my introduction, we're used to calling customer the king. We like to say in conversation, customer is king. But are we truly making customer king? Are we really keeping the customer in the center of the business? Or are we keeping a business as our center thought and trying then to find customers? They're two different approaches, and I will try and run a short little experiment with you all to see if you all are able to see my viewpoint over here. I generally would have encouraged participants to get a paper pencil for this small little experiment, but even if that is not possible right now, I'm going to request you to do a short little exercise. I'm going to give you a small little instruction keyword. If you could just close your eyes for about 15 seconds and try and imagine what I'm asking you to, please. Professor Parsi and Professor Rakshit, it would be great help if you could please go ahead with the experiment as well. It would be very encouraging for me.
Sure, ma'am. Sure.
Thank you. So my first request to you is, please imagine a chair. Please take 10 seconds and imagine a chair. All the other participants as well. I think what must have come to your mind is the regular chair that we think of, one with a backrest and with 4 legs, right? Now I'm going to ask you to make a small little tweak to the instruction. I'm going to give you another set of instruction. If you could please imagine this as well. Could you please imagine a seating experience for your loved one? Could you please take 10 seconds and imagine a seating experience for your loved one? I would love to hear in the comments section if there are any specifics that you imagined, or any kind of descriptions of possibly a sofa or a lounge chair or a very comfortable comfortable recliner chair or a rocking chair. What came to your mind? Could you share it in the comments section, please? I would be more than happy to hear from you. Cushioned chair. Thank you, Dr. Shefali. I think we've got the word cushioned over there. Yes. Dr. Parsi said a relaxing experience. Okay. What else? Anybody? A perfectly comfortable chair. Wonderful. Rakshitsa has said rocking chair. Okay. Comfort chair. Comfortable. Yes. Yes. Karthikeyan has said comfort chair. Ajit Kumar Sahu has said movable chair. Dr. Ramesh has said comfortable chair. I'm so happy that you all are actually giving me responses. Thank you for this. Yes, Tanika, you've raised your hand. Could you please put down your idea of the seating experience in the comments section? Shivani Sonia said toy chair from my younger brother. Wonderful. The reason I asked this particular question and the reason we ran this small little experiment is because this is the fundamentals of design thinking. The fundamentals of design thinking says, do not treat your customer as a buyer. Treat them as somebody as you would treat your loved one. Now let's think of it in this fashion. The first instruction was a product. The second instruction was also a product. The only difference was the approach. The first instruction was a chair. And nevertheless, what you imagined in the second option also was some sort of a chair itself, but just not the product chair. We added the feeling of empathy into that particular product. So when we talk about designing new products or designing new startups or new services or new business plans for our customers, instead of just looking at the product by itself as a chair, if we add a couple of keywords to our thought process, seating experience for our loved ones, 3 keywords. So I'm not just saying product, I'm saying seating, anything to do that helps them sit. I'm not just saying chair, I'm saying an experience around this seating. I'm trying to now add comfort to it. Something that was common across all answers was the comfort level must exist. Whereas when we thought of the chair in the original case, I don't think we bothered with the comfort at that point. We just thought of the chair. That's it. But the second time, we all wanted to add the element of comfort. We wanted to add a toy chair. We wanted to add a rocking chair. We wanted a movable chair. All these elements because of the third keyword, that was a loved one. That is where empathy comes in. Empathy is actually your ability to stand in your customer's shoes and see their requirements or their pain points and their needs from their perspective. So suddenly, this entire shift that has taken place from a pure product to now being an entire experience with empathy in it. So first step done, I think we've all got the design thinking mindset, at least the fundamentals in place, that the customer has to be kept in the center of the entire designing process. Now, let me go ahead with some technical aspects of design thinking here. First of all, generally in businesses, you will find that we like to keep business viability as the primary concern. Now, I'm trying to focus on the diagram over here on the screen. This is actually a center point. The center point of these 3 aspects is known as design thinking. We'll try and break this down. Generally, like I said, you'll find businesses being more obsessed with the business viability. The first question, the minute you finish the brainstorming is this viable? Do we have the funds for it? How are we going to fund it? I mean, is this going to generate enough profits? But that's what we're looking to change. We want us to stop thinking about business viability first, but rather start with people desirability. Start with, will people want this? Do people need this? What is it that people need? What is it that people want? Is there some product? Is there some service? Is there something that is going missed? Something that is going unaddressed? Can that be built? So therefore, if you start with people desirability, then look at technological feasibility and say, do we have the technology to go ahead with this particular requirement of the customer? And lastly, look at business viability and say, okay, we found a requirement from the customer. We found a particular unmet need of the people, of the users. From there, we've also understood that we do have the technological feasibility. We might be able to arrange for the particular technology that is required. And then you look at the business viability of how now can you build a business around this problem. Instead of first thinking of a business and then trying to sell your product to the customer, think of the customer first, think of a solution, and then try and build a business around it. The center point of all these three aspects, people desirability, technological feasibility, and business viability, is where experience innovation lies. And that fundamentally is design thinking. We're not saying that you need to negate business viability or you don't need to consider it, but what we're saying is it can't be your primary goal. It needs to be people desirability. Now, let's go about a couple of definitions used for design thinking globally. First of all, it's called a user-centered way to conceive and create a successful product, process, or service. Anyone can use it to tap into their creative potential and grow in-demand skills for today's competitive market. Also, like I have said previously, design thinking is a process. It's not something that can be done as a one-time process. Think of the latest iPhone that you've used. Think of the newest iPhone that Apple has launched. Are we sure that this is the last iPhone that Apple is coming up with? Not really. It comes up every September and we actually wait because it's a constant process. Whenever Apple tells you it's the latest phone, it's got the best in class technology, the most sharp camera ever, the most sophisticated chip ever, did they stop at that? They didn't. It's a process and it should be ongoing. So therefore, we call design thinking a continuous process of improving your product services to be able to suit the needs of your customers. Now, what kinds of problems can design thinking solve? Design thinking particularly is great at solving problems where data cannot help. Data is something that goes purely by numbers, whereas design thinking is more about emotions. It's more about understanding your customer and actually asking them stories. Think of it this way. If your doctor goes and speaks to your grandparents and if they ask your grandparents, "Aapko dard kahan pe hai? Kya issue hai aapko?" So when your grandparents or your parents say, "I have a back pain," and your doctor starts quickly writing down the medicine, you're not happy. But वही डॉक्टर जब 5 मिनट लगा के पूरी स्टोरी सुनते हैं आपकी ग्रैंडपेरेंट्स की, कहाँ दर्द है, क्यों हो रहा है, और कहाँ पे दर्द है, आप क्या करते हैं टू रिलीव योरसेल्फ, हाउ डू यू थिंक, विल यू बी एबल टू डू दिस एक्सरसाइज, क्या आपको ये दवाई चलेगी? जब ये सारे सवाल पूछ के आपको ये दवाई देते हैं, एट दैट पॉइंट दैट दवाई इज मोर एक्सेप्टेबल टू यू, दैट डॉक्टर इज मोर लाइकेबल टू यू. Even if that doctor will charge you 500 rupees more or possibly 200 rupees more, you're willing to pay it. एंड जवाब क्या आता है? जवाब यही आता है क्योंकि ये डॉक्टर मेरी बात सुनते हैं, मुझसे पूछते हैं. Because the doctor doesn't give me instructions and say, please do this. The doctor actually goes on to ask you, what exactly do you want? Where are your problems? How can I help you? That is the difference. These are problems that data cannot solve, and therefore design thinking with empathy at this stage becomes very important. A few problems over here that we can identify with design thinking: human-centered innovation, problems affecting diverse groups of people, shifting markets and behaviors, addressing rapid changes in society. Let's try and understand, if you're thinking of the COVID pandemic, there wasn't really enough time for us to think of how we want to go about jugaad. We all had to do it at your feet, at the tip of your feet. राशन वाले के वहां पे हमने सर्कल्स बना के लाइंस क्रिएट किए सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग के लिए, हमने टूथपिक्स यूज किए लिफ्ट के बटन्स दबाने के लिए. कॉन्स्टेंटली डिफरेंट वेज ऑफ ट्राइंग टू मेंटेन सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग. उबर, ओला, टैक्सीज ने बीच में प्लास्टिक लगाया और पीछे एक ट्यूब रखी सो दैट द कूल एयर वुड स्टिल कम टू द पैसेंजर सिटिंग बिहाइंड. There was not enough time to carry out anything except jugaad, but because we had to address rapid changing needs of society. Now, where did all of this come from? Some sort of a process. People understood that in spite of the pandemic, transport cannot stop. In spite of the pandemic, you cannot stop going to buy vegetables. In spite of the pandemic, you cannot stop going to the supermarket. So you try and ask customers what works for you, and then you try and brainstorm around the problems of the customers, and you try and build something. Now, having said this, I'll move on to design thinking mindset. Now, when I talk of design thinking mindset, there are a few fundamentals that become important. Now, design thinking is a process, but to go on to this process, there are a few things that we have to keep in mind. The first thing that you must keep in mind is it is purely human-centered. It's not about the business. It's not about the money. It's not about the revenue. But I'm not saying this that we're not going to make revenue or we're not going to make money. We are going to make money. That is the whole purpose of business, that somebody puts revenue in your pocket. That is what a successful business is. But at the end of it, if you try and put your customer first, you're more likely to be appreciated by the customer, and you're more likely to have a repeat customer or a repeat purchase coming from such sort of a customer. So the first aspect is being human-centered. The second aspect is being optimistic. When I talk about being optimistic, it means that we're running experiments. We're merely asking people their stories, asking them their problems, and we're trying to build something around this to solve their problem. When you're going to go ahead with such a process, you must be optimistic of two things. First, that you're most likely to fail. And second, that in spite of failing, you're only going to take it as an experiment and not stop. You're going to keep on going further. So this brings me to the point of experimentation. Whenever we carry out experiments in a lab, or during our chemistry labs, our physics labs, or even in the process of coming up with a new kind of weave or a new textile fabric, is it this that if we fail in the first go, we stop? We don't. We merely take it as, okay, this was the intention of the experiment. These were the findings. This was the result. This was the outcome. Whether it was a success or a failure. If it was a failure, we learn from that failure. We don't repeat that aspect, but we still go on to second round. That is why design thinking is now an iterative process, which means that it goes on in loops. Now, when you're talking about optimism and embracing ambiguity, you have to be very sure of the fact that you don't always know everything about everything. There are going to be some loopholes. There are going to be some gray areas which you are going to come across as and when you go forward with your entire experiment. Now, again, while we say it's important to embrace ambiguity, I'm also saying that it's important to make it. Now, the image over here of make it simply reflects the most important concept in design thinking, and that is being action biased. You must be action biased. If you have to choose between making something and not making it, my suggestion and design thinking's principle is that you must make it. Make it in the form of a sketch, make it in the form of a prototype, make it on paper, make it on wood, make it on your screen. These are low resources, right? It's merely an experiment. But don't shy away from making a simple sketch on a paper if that can help you get some clarity. What you will lose is possibly 3 minutes of time, one piece of paper. That's about it. But you might get some clarity in your concept, or you might get the creative confidence to keep on building further on your ideas. Having spoken about the design thinking mindset and having given you a background of design thinking, I now want to come to the main stages of design thinking. Because the question that comes to everyone's mind now is, okay, I get it, enough of design thinking, but what is design thinking? How do I implement this design thinking? Now, design thinking has been given multiple stages, and these are 5 main stages. The first one is empathy. In the first stage of design thinking, we try to empathize with our customer or our user. Now, when I say empathy, like I said, it's to be able to feel somebody's pain, to be able to understand what somebody's requirements are. When I talk about empathy, how do you carry out empathy? You carry out empathy by carrying out observations. आप जब किसी को देखते हैं, आप जब किसी की परचेज हैबिट देखते हैं, आप जब किसी को सुपरमार्केट में कुछ परचेज करने के टाइम पे देखते हैं, you are observing them, you are seeing their behavior with your service, you are seeing their interaction with your service, and that is when you will get a lot of hints as to what are the problems that they are facing. Now the second part is this, that after merely seeing and observing, you can actually go and interview them, go and ask them a few questions. Ask your customer, where exactly is the problem? How can I help you with this problem? Those answers that you get, they are your empathy. They are your chance of now understanding the customer from their actual pain points. Going forward, once you have gotten these observations, you can take this now to the define stage. The define stage particularly tries to get all this data that you've collected, all the information of these interviews, of these observations that you've made. You put them all together and you build some questions. How can I help this person shop in a more convenient manner? How can I offer products at a reduced cost? How can I make delivery easier for this person? How can I make online ordering easy for the person? So when you talk about the define stage, you're trying to now define your problem. You then move on to ideate. Ideate is nothing but brainstorming, as we're all aware. We've all done this at some point. Sit together as a team and try and see different answers that are an output for the problems that you have defined. Fourth step is prototyping. Now, the interesting part about prototyping is if you are building, let's suppose, a car, you're not expected to go out and build the car in the first go itself. You have to start with a sketch. If you're coming up with a new kind of fabric, you don't go and build the new fabric on the machine itself. If you're coming up with a new design, you don't go all out with the main product itself. You make a prototype. A prototype can be anything as basic as a sketch on paper, to Lego blocks, to a 3D model of the same. And why is this important? Because this prototype allows you to test user reactions. It allows you to test if your users are happy with this particular product or not. You can actually take this prototype to your customers, to your users, and try and get some reactions from them as to what do they feel about this prototype. That is exactly what you do in the testing phase. In the testing phase, you test your prototype, get user feedback, and then maybe you can go back to the ideate stage, make the improvements, and come back and test your product again. This is exactly why we say design thinking, although looks like a stage-wise process, once you've come to the last stage, that is the test stage, you will keep going back in loops to try and identify where the gap is. Let's suppose you've created this wonderful product. You've taken it to the customer says, "ठीक है, product अच्छा लग रहा है, but convenient नहीं है use करने के." So what are you going to do then? Okay, ठीक है, आप product use कीजिए. You will then go back to empathy. You will observe how they interact with that particular product. Then you will go to ideation and you will say, okay, no, I saw that they were not able to touch the buttons properly. Though buttons बहुत close थे, so we need to increase the space between the two buttons. That is where the customer was finding the problem. So then you ideate, you find the solution, you implement it in your prototype, and you take it back for testing. Now your customer says, yeah, now it's a little more convenient. You're more sure now about your own product. And why is this important? Because remember, when you send your product out in the market, your customer is not going to write you an email and say, sorry, I think your product convenient nahi hai. They will just directly reject your product. They're not going to come back and give you feedback. The feedback stage is in the testing stage, and therefore you cannot miss that stage. It becomes important that before the market rejects your product, your prototype is given feedback on, and all rejections that have to take place on your prototype is taken place in the testing phase itself and not at the market launch stage. Because failing at the prototype stage is going to be much, much more cheaper than failing at the market launch stage. And therefore, design thinking becomes an important concept in trying to reduce the chances of failure of any product that goes to the market. Now, while we've spoken about design thinking, I've spoken to you about mindsets, I've spoken to you about stages of design thinking. A couple of things that design thinking can help with is product design, service and experience design, business design by itself, leadership, and organizational change. Now, having spoken about these various aspects of design thinking, since we might run short on time, I would want to skip directly from instead of taking up this wonderful case study, I will go directly to the textile industry case study with you all so that we can have a little more discussion on textiles. Now think of these two images that are before you. I want you all to try and look at this as a customer. These two images before you. Now, both of them have fabrics. Both of them have some wonderful dress materials, if I may say, or possibly, I don't know what is stacked on the left-hand side. So, Professor Parsi, if you could give me a guess. On the left-hand side, what do you think, what are the dresses that are stacked up?
They are towels, ma'am. Towels.
Okay.
Towel.
They could be towels.
Yeah.
Professor Rakshit, Dr. Rakshit, would you like to give us?
Towel. These are the towels.
Wonderful fallacy, Mehak, you have raised it. I know. I am it's a chance for me to speak a little. I really wonderful.
These are gowns.
Okay.
Dress materials and gowns, sarees are there.
Yeah, sir. Dress materials are also there. Towels are there.
Dress material.
Yeah.
Ladies.
These are all ladies' product. Except for that, dress materials, stitchable. सलवार कुर्ता है वो वाला है.
बीच वाला बहुत बड़ा डिजाइन है सर. Small design. Okay.
लहंगा एम्ब्रॉयडरी वाला है नीचे वाला ब्लू ग्रीन जो दिख रहा है.
ये वाला है. हाँ ये एम्ब्रॉयडरी.
Okay, wonderful. I'm so glad to hear all of you all this. This is truly encouraging for me that you are actually engaging in the entire session. Now, the reason why I asked you this question was, look at the ambiguity we all have amongst us itself. हम भी बोल रहे कि वो क्या है पता नहीं. ये हो सकता है या वो हो सकता है या वो हो सकता है.
Correct.
But अगर मैं आपको यही चीज राइट हैंड साइड पे जो प्रोडक्ट्स हैं इसके बारे में पूछूं तो आप मुझे डायरेक्टली देख के बोल सकते हैं these are all dresses or women's gowns or they are shalwar kameezes. उसमें कोई confusion नहीं होगा. And why is the confusion not there now? Because of the way the products are being stacked. It's the entire experience that is built around the product by itself. You can actually understand now the difference as to why these designer boutiques today are able to charge such a heavy price against the same fabric that is on the left hand side and right hand side. The difference, आप फोटो देख के ही समझ गए होंगे कि क्या प्राइस की डिस्पैरिटी होगी दोनों शॉप्स के अंदर.
Yeah.
This is exactly where I bring design thinking and say, अगर आपका end store where you are going to sell your fabric is kept or is designed in such a way that you are actually able to attract the needs of the customer or address their needs or understand. जब हम फैब्रिक स्टोर में जाते हैं हमारा सबसे बड़ा कंसर्न क्या होता है? भैया ये दिखाइए, वो वाला दिखाइए, वो वाला भी दिखाइए, अच्छा ये वाला भी तो दिखाइए. Why do we do that? Because it's not on display. It's not clearly on display. Yes, Rakshit sir.
This is exactly the reason today there are many websites where the fabrics or the textile products are being sold. We have advanced technologically quite heavily. I mean, we can get the product back to us, but we cannot feel it before purchase.
Yes.
So the scientists are working today. I think it's a part of one of the slides which you have been talking about. That this is a problem to be solved as a prototype. I mean, on the screen also you will be able to feel that what is that softness or hardness or thickness and these kind of things. Very difficult to guess. So scientists are working on that. Possibly someday it will also be available to us.
Yes, sir, completely. And I think I will take Rakshit sir's point forward to now say that if somebody had thought of making a business, then they wouldn't have thought of that idea. It's because somebody put the customer first and said, "Arey, they face this problem, isko kaise solve kare?" That is why the scientists have actually thought of solving this problem. So a businessman will not think of solving this problem. It's somebody from the scientist side who's putting the customer's pain point first, who's trying to solve this problem. So therefore, taking Rakshit sir's idea further, this becomes very essential for us to understand where is the gap. Why are we not able to provide certain expectations of the customer? And these expectations are not necessarily going to be captured via a Google form. This needs you to actually be present with the customer while they are purchasing, while they're there. Take some interviews, get some stories from them so that we actually understand what is happening. Now, if I take a look at the image where the fabric is merely stacked, at that stage, we'll be able to see that although the fabric looks of real good quality, although there are some great designs, but I'm pretty sure we're not going to be able to charge the pricing that we would want to charge on this fabric. And if I take a look at the right-hand side, and I go to the store where there's actually an entire center table and there are chairs, which of course mean that some sort of consulting will be taking place, some sort of fittings and discussions around the product and the fabric will take place. This is where you're actually able to add value in the entire chain. So as startup ideas, as startup strategy, one thing that becomes important is try to understand where can you add value to the customer and how can you then monetize or make money from the value that you are offering to the customer. Today, in today's day and age, customers don't mind paying that extra money. आप स्विगी सोचिए, हमने कभी नहीं सोचा था कि आप स्विगी को या जोमैटो को या किसी भी लॉजिस्टिक्स सर्विस को आप एक्स्ट्रा मनी देंगे. आपने कभी ये भी नहीं सोचा था कि आप 4 किलोमीटर के लिए रिक्शा लेंगे. Now at some point of time, if you tell your parents कि 4 किलोमीटर जाने के लिए I'm taking a rickshaw, they're going to look at you and they're going to say 4 किलोमीटर के लिए कौन रिक्शा लेता है? But हमारी जनरेशन 1 किलोमीटर के लिए भी रिक्शा लेगी. And why do they do that? Because now suddenly people are bringing value of their own convenience above money. So if you're able to truly offer this convenience to people and plug the gap in between, I think it's a great startup opportunity for people to capture that gray area and monetize it. Lastly, I want to also bring across this small little set of pictures that I saw recently. We are all aware of Sabyasachi Mukherjee. We all know he's a big designer and of course leads a lot of different kinds of weaves, specifically the Banarsi weave from the textile industry. Now, think of the Banarsi sari and think of how Sabyasachi Mukherjee sells the Banarsi sari. The concept is the same, the tradition is the same, the weave is the same, the karigars are the same, but there's an entire experience built around it. There's an entire story built around it. So Sabyasachi Mukherjee himself in this picture over here stands at Asi Ghat and says, yes, I respect the tradition. There is this element of weavers and tradition and builds a story around it. When Priyanka Chopra or any celebrity's lehenga is made, in the newspapers, the headline does not say Sabyasachi Mukherjee designed her lehenga. He also very, if I may say strategically, if that's the right word, says 3,000 hours were invested in making the lehenga. So suddenly now the value of the lehenga is not the fabric, it's the number of man hours that has gone in. And how do you justify this? You make a short 30-second clip of how the lehenga was made. You build an experience around it. You build an entire service, entire journey around it. So suddenly you've actually taken your customer from concept all the way to delivery. And you've made a short little 30-second documentary. Now the customer understands why am I paying this money and suddenly is ready to pay much more money. I think with this, I also wanted to lastly introduce what Dr. Rakshit had spoken about in the start of his speech when he was talking about banana fibers and papaya fibers being used into fabrics. And yes, I did pick up from that today morning. So I've also heard of coffee ground being used into fabrics, of pineapples being used into fabrics. In fact, you'll be happy to know the blazer that I'm wearing right now is actually made from plastic itself. I've actually gone on to purchase this blazer because it is made from recycled plastic. And that is the other point that I wanted to bring out is that apart from just customer desirability, we can also look at sustainability being brought into our businesses while using design thinking. With this, I would like to conclude my session and I'm open to taking questions from you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Really, session was very, very informative and knowledgeable. Ma'am, you have explained very well all about the requirements of design thinking and its importance in the real entrepreneurship. with respect to customer and its needs. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now I request to all participants to ask the question if you have, or you can use the chat box to type your queries. Please.
Oh, I mean, we are the best students for Mehak, so therefore I will start with that. Okay. Once again, I just echo what Percy sir has already expressed, that it's a wonderful presentation. You know, whenever I listen to these kind of presentations,
Sir, what?
unless I follow, I will not be able to get the essence of it, and I will not be able to, conquer the actual, the message what you want to convey. This is one thing. Second is that it's out of the presentation topics what we had been talking about. Empathy. I think this particular word with which she started her presentation and emphatically told about empathy. Am I right?
Thank you.
And it reminds me a profession, one type of profession. वर्मा जी भी हमारे साथ है, अभी आ गए हैं सर, आपका टर्न आएगा बिल्कुल 12:30 को, तब तक हम थोड़ा बहुत बातें कर लेते हैं, कई लोग भी है यहाँ पे, सुन लें, थोड़े बहुत अच्छा लगेगा। हमारी पुरानी जमाने में अगर 50s 60s महक ने एक बार वो बताया भी कि हमारी जमाने में 1 किलोमीटर के लिए भी ऑटो रिक्शा लगता है, और हमारे पुरखों की अगर पूछा जाए तो 4 या 14 किलोमीटर भी कुछ नहीं है, वो चल के चले जाते थे। तो ऐसा है, जब उस समय जो डॉक्टर, जो प्रोफेशन ऑफ ए मेडिकल पर्सन, हम आपके गांव में जितने डॉक्टर्स थे ना, उनमें से एक डॉक्टर बहुत ही मतलब ख्याति मिलती थी उनको, कभी काफी फेमस होते थे। क्यों? कहते हैं कि वो अगर आपके घर पे एक बार आ भी जाए तो मरीज ठीक हो जाता है। उसको दवा देना वो पैसिव एक एक्टिविटी है, दवा देने की जरूरत ही नहीं है, उनको एक बार बुला लो। वो होता कैसे था? It's honestly speaking, I have seen that kind of thing because I am from that kind of age group also. If you call certain doctor at your place, he doesn't talk about the disease. He says, he tries to identify तकलीफ किधर है, पेट में दर्द है, बस हो गया. It's a symptom, but not the disease. To identify the disease, he keeps on asking a couple of questions. What she said, कि पेट में दर्द है, 1 minute, let me write something. It is today's generation. But that gentleman used to ask him that, okay, अच्छा कब से हो रहा है, क्यों हुआ था, क्या खाए थे, आपकी कोई मतलब इन्फेक्शन था क्या? All parameters comes into picture, and but ultimately he tries to find out is it for indigestion or it is an appendix pain. So, and their diagnostics were so strong that we don't need a pathologist to take care of it. This is one thing I definitely want to share with you. And second is that you say the documentary part of it. I mean, how to penetrate to the mind of the people. Your product says that, okay, it has consumed 3,000 man hours, and therefore it becomes sellable with a higher price tag, and it's a value addition. Agree. It's a different industry. Real estate. If you look at today, the big shots, what they are doing, they are in their selling zone, in the lounge. They have created a center where they project 3D view of their layout of the project. It has a very recent developments, and I find it to be one of the most powerful marketing tool nobody had thought of so far. So I would not like to name the main company or the real estate group, who have obviously a big brand, no doubt in it. But all the customers, after doing all the businesses over the last 30, 35, 45 minutes to impress that, okay, this is the best product you can buy, they take them to a hall, they take them to a center where the entire 3D projection, and it gives so beautiful feeling about, whether it is the swimming pool or it is the stadium, whatever you are making, or even at your living room when you are sitting across. So these kind of things are coming up. And definitely big marketing tools which is attached to this kind of design thinking. Obviously, unless you thought of it that, okay, how I can enhance and I can stand alone with comparison to the others, obviously these are the parameters which you can introduce. Wonderful. It's a very relevant topic, and she had done wonderful presentation. Now, with these observations, I would like to keep the session open for questionnaires. Thank you.
Excuse me, ma'am. One
Yes.
question from participant is that which startup can be easily start at primary level with limited resources?
So to me, this answer would be slightly tricky because a startup at primary level, essentially, if you're talking about limited resources, I think it's more about a service-based product, a service-based startup instead of a product-based startup. Services are always easier to scale up and replicate as compared to a product by itself. So for me, if you are asking me, I would always say get into a service and not a product. Because if you're low on funds, you can also start at a small scale on services. There's a lot that you can automate later on, but at least you can manually handle from the back end right now. So while you may actually be running your test runs, it may look like, oh, Google has sent you an immediate invitation. It's not Google who sent you an immediate invitation. It is, for example, Professor Parsi, right now for this particular session, when registration was required, a lot of people may actually feel, or you could actually say register and immediately a Zoom link may be sent to you, but it's actually being manually be done by somebody, right? So that again becomes an element of a service itself. So I think services are easiest to replicate and scale up with being low on funds.
Yeah, thank you. Ma'am, one another question is there. For organization, design thinking did not work out completely successfully. What is the reason? What is your opinion?
Okay, I think this question is from Sanika. She says, I've heard from some organizations that design thinking didn't work out. So what do you think and why sometimes it didn't work out? Do you think they don't follow proper steps or what? Sanika, my response to you would be this, that design thinking, it's only the first time when you carry it out that it has to be stepwise. After that, it is non-linear in nature. And design thinking has to be carried out with the right mindset. The first thing that we said in mindset is you have to be optimistic and you have to embrace the ambiguity. You need to know that you don't know about it and there's a high chance of failure. But having said this, I'm not going to say design thinking didn't work out for them. Maybe the problem was not well framed. Maybe the solutions that were searched for from a fixed mindset and not a growth mindset. There could be also the challenge that it was an extremely technical product, like something into holographic technology or AI or blockchain. That is something where design thinking may not be your best option. Design thinking is the best option for B2C businesses, where there's a customer involved at the end and not a B2B, where it's more of a direct business sale and purchase.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, another question is there. What is your opinion for a startup for youth population?
A proven small business or go for a new entrepreneurial start, I would say an entrepreneurial start is something you can do on the side. So for example, I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and even as I give you a lecture, I have my own entrepreneurship, small little startup running on the side. But at no time have I thought of quitting my full-time job. I still run both of them parallel. And truly, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you can't be working just 8 hours a day. You have to put in all 16 hours of work, which means that 8 hours is your full-time job, which is going to get you your money on the table for sure. And the other 8 hours is where your heart lies, till you can actually make it a sustainable venture where you can make the entire 16-hour circle worth those 8 hours where your heart lies. So you don't just have to have the guts to get into it, but you also need to be ready to put in 16 hours of work every single day.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Ramesh, sir, is there. Sir, please unmute yourself and ask the question. Unmute yourself, sir. Dr. Ramesh, sir. Unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. The thing is that from my point of view, the design thinking should be with respect to the product. Means, suppose if you are thinking regarding the design thinking with respect to the fabric, and if you consider the costing of that particular fabric for different types of design thinking, the costing may increase. But instead of that, if you go for the product which is developed from that fabric, that is garmenting, even if by small change in the garmenting, we can get the good, you can say, sale of that particular product, and you can get more profit from that. So I mean to say that instead of investing more money for the design thinking for the fabric, if it is better to go for the you can say enhancement of the product which is manufactured from that fabric. So from my point of view, it is better to go for the garment instead of that fabric. What is your perspective about that?
Okay. So then in that case, Dr. Ramesh, I would suggest, since this is a technical question, partially technical question, I would answer it by saying that anything where you think customer centricity is required, let's suppose in the garment itself, or maybe not the garment, in the fabric itself, at the production stage itself, if you think that there is some sort of customer centricity element or some sort of story that can be brought in. So for example, you talk about sustainability. If you'd like to talk about sustainability in your production process, you can actually bring that out using design thinking to your customer. So maybe not in production or in costing of the fabric itself, it has to be looked at from a very, very holistic perspective, that you keep the costing, the technology, the customer, the fabric, all of it together, and then we try and find a midpoint to it. But if we try and find out design thinking through costing, that may be slightly tricky.
But actually, costing should be considered, no, regarding in that design thinking. If the cost is going very high by that design thinking, it's of no use. Even if it is, it will not be affordable.
I would in fact say, Dr. Ramesh, pricing in the Indian market, that's the most important requirement of the customer. Up 10% price upar le lijiye, your sales will drop by more than 20 to 30%.
Yeah, exactly.
Having said that, so if you're talking about customer centricity and customer desirability, keeping the price point within purchase range itself becomes a primary concern then.
Yes, that is there. But what I'm saying that if you go for the garmenting from the same fabric, and if you make a very different design thinking, and if you make a good garmenting out of that, we can get more money as well. It will be comfortable with the customers also. I mean to say that.
Okay. Okay.
So that is my concern. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Now the time is to start our third series. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Parsi, for this, and thank you, Professor Rakshit. It was my pleasure. And thank you, everyone else, for the compliments that you've given me in the comment section. This has truly been inspiring for me. I'll take your leave with this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Now we shall proceed for our third session. I would like to introduce our expert for third session, Mr. S.P. Verma, sir. Sir is Additional Textile Commissioner, Mumbai. Sir has completed Bachelor of Textiles in Textile Technology from GCTI Kanpur in 1985. He has started career from GSL Limited, Almeta, Gujarat, which was a new synthetic yarn manufacturing unit having state-of-art technology. After accepting the various challenges and hard work with the team, he has made the unit become #1 for producing fancy yarn in man-made fiber. He has joined Textile Committee Mumbai as a textile inspector in September 1988 and joined officer of the Textile Commissioner Mumbai in May 1990 as an assistant director, production and development, and currently he is a additional joint commissioner, Mumbai. No. So I would like to invite Mr. S.P. Verma, sir, to start the expert session on the topic of government scheme for startup and entrepreneurship. Sir, please.
Thank you, Dr. Parsi. Dr. Anup Dachit, other learned faculty members of NMIMS, and friends on board. The topics which has been given to me, rather, I feel it is a very boring subject. Particularly for the new kind of entrepreneurship which I am observing as of now. And moreover, my session is just before the lunch hour, when people start to see their watches when the speaker will finish his part. So they have to rush for their lunch, to take their lunch. So actually, I will try to engage all of you with my thought process to decide properly before taking any decision to go for any kind of startup. Before that, I will share my whatever experience I gained in last 31 years or 32 years, so that the new entrepreneurs may decide properly what kind of startup they have to go. Actually, in my opinion, I always share my view with my industry friends. Don't decide, don't work out the viability of your project based on the government schemes or government supports being extended, because government supports, there are so many kintu parantu. Say when you will make an applications, the clerk sitting on the table, they will decide whether there is a comma or there is a full stop, whether there is something, they will raise the query. It may delay the process of getting the subsidy, and thereafter might your viability, if you have worked out based on the government support, so you have to again narrate, again decide what have to done, or you have to borrow some of the fund from others. So in my opinion, whatever government support is there, you just imagine it is like a pocket expenses for your business. And also it will you have to treat as a liquidity part for the working capital, not just for sustaining of your business. So with this word, I am starting my presentation, and rather I will like to more interact in our mother language, so that I can give more insight of my thought to all of you. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can use Hindi also.
just a moment. Why it is not? Yeah. So as Miss Mehak, she has already. Oh, it is some missing is there. No issue. As already Miss Mehak has informed about how to decide the marketing strategy, she has just concentrated on the design pattern, and very good science she has narrated in her address. But in my opinion, I have shown 3 gears here, just to decide what kind of thought process have to be there for deciding your business plan. If you are going to start up your business, so first of all, you have to decide what kind of product you have to manufacture. There is a demand for all kind of product. Here, I will give an example. I have seen one of the small businessmen who has opened a very small shops on the footpath, just in front on the footpath of a Bata showroom. He started to sell the footwears of costing not more than 150 or 200, whereas Bata showroom, we all know their minimum price start from rupees 400 or 500 onwards. So why he has decided like that? Because he knows there is a consumer for his product also. So first of all the products can be sold out, subject to we have a proper marketing strategy to decide marketing strategy which to whom we are going to supply and who are our probable consumers for our products. So in that case, in my opinion, first of all, market front actually we have to analyze very properly, so that there should not be any chance of failure. अगर हमने एक प्रॉपर मार्केट स्टडी करके अपने कोई भी प्रोडक्ट कोई स्टार्टअप किया, तो मुझे नहीं लगता है कि कोई भी आगे फेल्योर के चांसेस रहेंगे. Have ever we have thought before 25 years कि the water in India will be sold out in a bottle? Nobody has thought at that time. But at present, everybody is taking the packed bottles. जैसा मैं पहले बोल रहे थे कि हमारे डॉक्टर रचित भी बता रहे थे कि पहले हम लोग जब बचपन में थे तो किसी भी यात्रा पे जाते थे तो एक 5 लीटर का कैन भर के चलते थे पूरी गाड़ी में. आज कोई लेके चलता है उतना 5 लीटर का? नो, बिकॉज वी आर अवेयर कि packed bottles will be available everywhere. So now before launching of the product or before venturing into any kind of business, we have to study properly about the market availability, how much demand is there, what kind of product can be supplied by you, what will the price range of the product, to which consumer you will like to supply, because every consumer segment has own kind of requirement. Some may be cost basis, some may be quality basis demand will be there. So you have to decide first on market front, then decide on the kind of production, which kind of machinery you have to install, and thereafter you come to the finance part, how the finance part will be managed by you for the kind of business you are going to start. This is a SPANCO cycle is there for deciding anything, particularly in the market front, where you have to suspect which kind of product where you are manufacturing for which market, whether it will be a country specific, whether it is a agency basis, or for it is a malls of supply. Then prospect buyers who will be there, you have to analyze based on the data already available on various websites. So many people are sharing these kind of data. Then approach, how you will approach to the marketing, who are the contact persons, are they you will able, because there may be many more persons already before you, they are supplying the same kind of good. So how will approach, to whom you will approach, how will make inroad between them. So you have to decide first, negotiate properly. This is also one kind of art. People generally, I have interacted with many small entrepreneurs, but they are not having a proper negotiation art. This is also one kind of science, which particularly in case of design pattern, Miss Mehak has already narrated. And after negotiation, there is another science of closing the negotiation. Internationally, if you are going to be a business, you have to learn how to close the negotiation. If you are not knowing it very well, because it depends upon country to country, person to persons. Everywhere this marketing strategy is very kind of we have to make a very good research to decide, and thereafter we have to start to supply. So this is the only kind of how to step forward for deciding the marketing, to whom you are planning. I have already narrated here, in nothing to narrate more here. Key success factor for deciding the strategy for market, I think so you have to decide कि आप एक niche product बनाना चाहते हैं कि आप जो है एक वॉल्यूम बेस्ड स्ट्रेटजी के ऊपर मार्केट में वेंचर करना चाहते हैं. You have to decide, because for both kind of product there is a market segment, there is a consumer for it, there is a quality conscious people. See, there is a consumer segment is also now developing, which is demanding for the recycled product, because you are going to address the environment. But at the same time, there is a major chunk of consumers who are demanding if it is a very cost effective, then only they will decide to purchase your items. So you have to first decide which consumer segment, the need of which consumer segment you are going to address. Then documentize it, because I have come across during my interaction with many textile entrepreneurs, they are never documentizing their product, their process flow. So that's why whenever they कभी उनको अगर कहीं फंस जाते हैं, तो वो फिर उस जगह से वो डिसाइड नहीं कर पाते कि हम पहले से स्टार्ट करें या इसमें से ही हम कुछ करेक्शंस लेवल के लेकर के चलें. If you are documentize your process flow, then automatically you can find out very easily where you have made a mistake, where you are lacking, and what kind of corrective measures are required to be made. So this is all kind of process. I will share this my presentation with all of you through Dr. Rachit. So if you have any more questions thereafter, I will narrate how this is all kind of a very good science is there to decide the marketing strategy. And I will not take much more time, because give more focus on the government schemes also. And So now second chapter I will like to share with all of you, because you have to decide as a startup, you have to make up the mind. Generally, people have in their mind that cheaper machine is better for their startup or for their business, because there will be less capital investment for any kind of production, and with the less kind of capital investment, there will be a very minimal fixed assets will be there. So their break-even point may be very at the lower side. They can easily get back the investment within a very limited period. But in my opinion, that myth is totally wrong. ये बिल्कुल गलत है कि हम सेकेंड हैंड मशीन या सस्ती मशीन जो चाइना से आ रही है, कई बार हम वो खरीद करके लेके आ जाते हैं, लेकिन वो मशीनों से ऊपर हम लॉन्ग टर्म के बेसिस के ऊपर अगर हम एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की डिसीजन ले रहे हैं, तो मेरे हिसाब से वो सस्टेनेबल नहीं है. Particularly, I am giving example of high-tech shuttleless loom, which is used for weaving of a cloth. If you are going to select a shuttleless loom being supplied by the China, so you just keep in mind you are going to throw that machine within a 1.5 years or maximum 2 years, because there will not be any kind of use of that machine. Whereas if you will go for the European make machine, though price will be 5 times more of the Chinese loom. So that machine actually, we are in our technical version, or as a technocrat, we are thinking it is a maintenance free machine at least for the next 5 years. So initially the capital cost will be more, but in a long term, the payback period and production, quality, etc., everything you will get in a very limited time frame in comparison to the second-hand machine. So now another aspect we want to give you, what kind of future process of the textile value chain will be there. So as your learned professors have already told you about what kind of product demand and what kind of thought process of the consumer is going to change in coming future. So actually, if you have to cut the cost, because technological part already there are so many inventions already has been taken place. So now we have to, as a new ventures, we have to also concentrate on how we can reduce the waste, how we can recycle the waste, and also with the waste, how we can redesign the product so that our wastage cost should be very minimal in our products. Similarly, we have also to thought how we can conserve the energy, because the energy cost is going to be a very high in coming future. As on date, in many regions, the energy cost is around for industrial use, it is 8 rupees per unit. So in coming future, it will further going to increase due to shortage of coal and other kind of things. So energy conservation also we have to thought if you are deciding the for going for any kind of new business for manufacturing of any textile product or any kind of product we are going to. So this is all processes we have to keep in mind to decide the factor. Future textiles, already there will be a there was a phone. So this is just a kind of what kind of already I had discussed. This is already a deciding factor when you will make an study of the market. Then all these things have to be kept in mind, in my opinion. And future textiles, definitely it is going for a technical textiles. Now it is being categorized as a sunrise sectors, because you have already studied. There was a time when European was a leader in textile industry, or America was also a leader in textile industry. Now there is no more textile business for the regular textile items. They have totally now concentrated their production base for the technical textiles, which is a very highly specialized product. So now actually, this is in technical textile or specialty textile. These products are recognized as either there will be acceptance or there will be total rejection will be there. There will be no second sale or first sale or second sale kind of product which we can see in regular kind of textiles. But yes, margin are very high in comparison to the, if you are going to start a small business, then these kind of product can give a very good margin to you, subject to you have planned your project in a very scientific way. This is my opinion. So now just a demand, generally people thought for whether there will be demand for the textile items. Yes, always textiles items will be in demand as long as humans are humans will live on this earth. There will be demand for the textile. It is not going to decrease in coming future also. Fashion may be there. Sometimes people लोग मेरे से बोलते हैं कि साहब अभी तो फैशन में इतना छोटा छोटा चीज कपड़ा आ गया है तो ये हमारे कंजम्पशन कैसे बढ़ेगा. But at the same time if we will see the data, और हम लोग भी सोचते हैं कि एक समय पे हमारे पास में 4 जोड़ी कपड़े हुआ करते थे और आज की तारीख में 40 जोड़ी भी कपड़े कम पड़ते हैं. So now we purchasing power has increased. हमारी चीजें और भी जगह टेक्सटाइल्स के प्रोडक्ट यूज होने लगे हैं. And not only that, hospitality industry have increased like anything. So the demand of textile will always be there, and it will, in my opinion, it will continuously increase at the CAGR of 10% in coming future also. So what kind of product will be there? So I have already make a graph. What kind of product demand will be there? Home textiles will always in demand. The apparel kind of items, apparel and clothing will increase in coming future also. And at the same time, others is also increasing very rapidly in form of technical textiles items. So as already told, in case of technical textiles, we are the one of the going to be a significant player in the field of technical textiles. We are fifth in the world. As on date, our consumption, home consumption in the technical textiles is very minimal. However, it is going to increase as the awareness level will increase. So now I am coming to the support of the government schemes. So I have tried to find out the schemes which will be used for all of you as a startup business. So a scheme credit guarantee trust fund for MSME of Ministry of MSME is available for you, under which you can take a loan up to rupees 2 crore without any collateral security. And under this scheme, they are providing 85% of credit facility, meaning that 15% margin you have to put from your side. Another 85% credit facility they will provide, means your bankers or any lending agency who are implementing this CBTMS scheme, they will provide up to 2 crore. But at the same time, they will charge annual fee for the loan of if you are taking above 50 lakhs. So in a textile business, if you are going for manufacturing sector, I don't think so any project that can be started with a minimal with a project cost of less than 1 crore if you are going to opt for a new kind of technology. So on that, if you are going to take a loan of more than 50 lakhs, they will charge 1.8% interest as their fee plus risk premium. So I have calculated the kind of service charge they will take as annual fees for giving you a collateral free loan. So as on date, I find there is a interest rate of 7 to 9 or 10% depend upon the CIBIL score or depend upon the guarantee you are going to provide to the lending agencies. So this service charges plus risk premium, if we calculate, so almost, though you have to pay annually for it, but it is more or less same. So in my opinion, you can also opt for going for general kind of loan, or also you can, if you are not having any kind of collateral to provide to the lending agency up to 2 crores, you can opt for this scheme. The more details and how to file the application for this scheme, you can find out on the scheme of www.cgtmse.in. Details are given here in the, you can get more details about these schemes. Then another scheme might, but it is a very high volume scheme. The Ministry of Textile has launched for increasing the production for certain items where our presence is very meager as on date, particularly in the world market. So as for a startup project, I will say no, and I will not suggest to go for, because there is a minimum investment of rupees 300 crore. However, I have put this slide. If anybody or any entrepreneurs, if they are on the board, they can go for this scheme. It is a very good scheme, because under this scheme, there is a rate of return is, if we'll see in a span of 5 years, so total returns will go up to the 70%. But huge investment you have to make, and you have to make sure that there will be a increase production every year for a particular product code which has been identified under this scheme. Otherwise, you will not able to claim this benefit from the government. The government will automatically make a question and stop the their subsidy part. Another scheme for general entrepreneurs, for any startup, new or any existing entrepreneurs, they can opt for. It is a amended technology upgradation fund scheme. A scheme is there, under which government is incentivizing the technological benchmark machine for installation by any entrepreneurs. So for this scheme actually is going to end on 31st March. So very limited period is now available for anybody or for any entrepreneurs. So the existing or whosoever will decide, for them there is a good news. Government is going to launch another very good scheme from 1st April 2022 onward. Though I have some basic information about the proposal, but cannot share as a government protocol for that new scheme. The existing, under this existing 8F scheme, other than spinning sector, after the spinning sector, all segments are made eligible for availing the subsidy under the scheme. For apparel and metal sector, there is a at the rate of 15%, government is providing subsidy on the basic cost of the machines which are made eligible. For technical textile sectors machines, also 15% capital incentive subsidy is being provided by the government. And for power loom, handloom, jute, silk, and other processing sector, etc., the government is providing 10% capital incentive on the specified machinery under the scheme. So this is a basic kind of subsidy scheme for a identified technology of these sectors. However, there is no restrictions to avail any schemes of the state government or any subsidy benefits being provided by the state government for the same kind of machines. So this is the only top kind of a basic subsidy scheme. On that basis, state government, with the state government benefits of the schemes, you can top up your subsidy part. So this scheme is being implemented in a very through a very online portal, and a very seamless process is there. You have to submit your application through the online process, apply for it. The bank will sanction a term loan, or you have to get sanction of the term loan first from the bank, and then can apply through the online portal. Automatic UID will be generated. So UID generation is the process where your subsidy will be pre-authorized, means your application will be entitled to get the subsidy which you have entered the database on the inter data. You will be, government is giving the guarantee subject to you are qualifying all the norms. The government will provide the pre-authorized subsidy to your unit in coming future after physical inspection of the unit. This physical inspection now it is going to be waived off by the government very soon. They are, because there is a very much workload is there. So up to 50 lakhs, there will be no any kind of physical inspection. Only some random inspection will be there. And if the installed machines under the project is found at par with the technology level identified under the scheme, your account will be directly credited the committed subsidy amount by the government. There is no kind of any other business you have to run after the consultant, or you have to go. You can very well make an application, go as per the scheme, install your machinery, and subsidy will automatically be credited in your accounts. So now I am also informing all of you about the state level policies. Particularly, I have given an example of Maharashtra state textile policy. All major states where the textile industry is located, they have their own textiles policy. So over and above the ETA, you can top up the subsidy part based on the subsidy is being provided by the state government. So under this Maharashtra state textile policy, they have provided, it is applicable up to 2023. So subsidy to all units means processing. I have made and make a table for your knowledge in general. So for general unit means in the general category entrepreneurs, for processing 40% they have committed to provide. For composite unit, meaning that if you are having an spinning plus weaving, weaving plus processing, or processing plus garmenting activities are there. So 35% subsidy benefit they will provide. For spinning, ginning and pressing unit, they will provide 25% capital incentive subsidy. And particularly, it is not for a startup business, because it is for the conversion of old plain loom to rapier loom. It is for the old entrepreneurs who are already having the plain power looms in their unit. So the government is providing 25% subsidy benefit for conversion, for installation of conversion kits, so that they can also improve their quality of the product. And for weaving sector, if you are going to install a shutterless loom, any new entrepreneurs can get 25% in addition to the ETA for installation of new shutterless looms. And if you are belonging to SC, ST or minority community, this benefit are going to be further increased by 5% more. And state government has also announced additional subsidy if you are producing a specialty kind of product, meaning that technical textiles of product, if you are manufacturing, 10% additional subsidy is being provided. So if you are going to decide to manufacture any kind of technical textile product, so with the, if you are clubbing the central government plus government of Maharashtra scheme, and so even though we are belonging to a general category, so 50 plus 65% capital interest subsidy will be available for any entrepreneurs. So which is a very good chunk of support at present being provided by the government. So this is for the old looms subsidy benefit. I will not give much is important here. And lastly, just to motivate all of new entrepreneurs or our friends who are just going to pass out from the college and going to decide whether they have to they have to be a job providers for the others instead of seeking the jobs. So it is a, if what makes the things perfect or 100%. So a scientific process, we have to analyze it, whether it is a hard work. So if we are giving ABCD up to Z equals same number 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 26. So the hard work is summing up to the 98%. It is not a 100%. Knowledge base, again, it is coming out to the 96%. Money, again, as already I in previous and my first slide I have told, finance is not a major part to deciding to decide your factors. It is a very less important sector in accordance to my experience. Leadership, again, it is a factor, but not up to that percent. It is up to your attitude. If your attitude is proper, as already told by our previous speakers also, if you are concentrating, deciding our strategic plan in a scientific way, there will not be any chance of failure for you. So with these words, I am closing my presentation. Thanks to word and forum open for questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much for your wonderful session and sharing your knowledge and experience with us. You have pointed out that, sir, marketing research is important before starting any business. And you have also mentioned very good about the future of technical textile, as well as various government schemes for textile entrepreneurs, those who are new or those who are already existing enterprises. So we are very much confident that you have imparted valuable knowledge and experience to our participants. Thank you, sir. Now session is open for question.
I think so. First question is there: which kind of startup, which
Yes,
technical textile startup taken easily in primary stage?
Yes, sir.
So it depends upon the how much capital investment capacity is of you are deciding. So in my opinion, better to be a converter instead of making a full range of technical textile products. There are various kind of product in which case you can be a very good converters, because basic raw materials are very available in our Indian market. So just like you see, recently we have seen earlier there was no any mask manufacturer in our country, only limited mask manufacturer, Venus, and few mask manufacturers were there. But due to pandemic and increasing demand, have so within a span of 4-5 months, from 3-4 manufacturer to more than 35 for manufacturers have installed their capacity for manufacturing of masks also. PPE kit demand also increased. So many garment manufacturers, they have also converted their production base from manufacturing of general kind of apparels to these PPE kind of products. So it depends upon the kind of, first of all, you to decide which kind of product you can supply in the market very easily. Thereafter, you have to decide which kind of product you have to think for to start up or to start to manufacture. Yarns are easily imported from China. We want to set up some specialty yarn manufacturing unit in India, which is not right now in India. What kind of protection we can get for the special kind of yarn for import? Otherwise, imported yarn will not be able to compete. Again, in my opinion, unnecessary we are afraid of the China. China, whatever products it is coming, it is just making a sensation in the market, in my opinion. If we analyze technically on other quality parameters, I don't think so any specialty yarn or specialty product will qualify the quality standards which are internationally required. ऑलरेडी आप लोगों ने देखा होगा कि शुरुआत में चाइना ने पीपी किट बहुत से कंट्री को सप्लाई किया जिसकी क्वालिटी कितनी इंफीरियर थी. Later on, our country, the PP kit supplied by our country was in more demand in comparison with China. We are unnecessarily have a havoc of the China. Their strategy is entirely different. In that front or in that cost-effective pattern, we cannot compete. But in quality front, we can compete with them. It is my opinion. Are the central and state government subsidy given independent of each other? Yes, yes, it is independent. Earlier there was a link. when we were sanctioning the subsidy under our scheme, thereafter state we are giving the top-up subsidy. But due to certain administrative problems, issues, it has been delayed.
Sir, one question from Shah sir. After mask and PP kit, efforts can be made for designer shirt from printed non-one. Shah sir, the question from Shah sir.
Sir, what exactly I could not get, sir.
After mask and PP kit,
Yeah.
effort can be made for designer shirt from printed non-one.
शाह साहब मेरे से ज्यादा एक्सपीरियंस है। फिर भी इसका जवाब मेरे से पहले के स्पीकर ने ऑलरेडी दे दिया था। It is up to शाह साहब, in my opinion, how to see, कोई भी चीज होती है ना, मैं इसका आपको हिंदी में एक जवाब दूंगा कि what makes us to decide कि हमें यही चीज लेनी है। हमारे ये सेंस जितने भी है, 5 सेंस, they are the decision makers. So first of all we have to see, हमें पहले आंखों से, हमारी आंखें कोई भी प्रोडक्ट देखती हैं तो आंखों को भाना चाहिए वो प्रोडक्ट। एक रेगुलर प्रोडक्ट जो मार्केट में चल रहा है उससे पहले हमारे आंखों में भाना चाहिए, फिर हमारे हाथ फील करते हैं तो फील हमें अच्छा लगना चाहिए। तो एक ये जो ह्यूमन साइकोलॉजी है, इफ अगर हम उसको समझ करके अपने प्रोडक्ट में थोड़ा सा इनोवेशन लेके आएंगे, जो थोड़ा सा इनपुट साइंटिफिकली हमारे से पहले स्पीकर ने दिया, तो कोई इसमें आपको इनोवेशन लेके आना, इट इज ए कंटिन्यूअस प्रोसेस। आपको लोगों की थॉट प्रोसेस में आपको आगे लेके आना है। यस सर, साहब कुछ बोलना चाहते हैं?
जब तक शाह सर आंसर देते हैं, वर्मा जी मैं एक चीज सभी के साथ शेयर करना चाहता हूँ। शाह सर का अनम्यूट हो गए, बताइए सर, पहले आप बताइए।
We are thinking the mindset has to be changed. This is number one. I'll give you a small example, and I am always writing this. In a spinning, our ring spinning is, I think, even 1974 I pass out, I think, I don't know from where it has started, and we are still doing ring spinning. People have gone from ring dial to mobile and whatnot, next year will come. Why we are still stuck up to this ring spinning? Then again a weaving, airjet, बस airjet आया, मामला खत्म हो गया। तो textile is stagnant हो गया है। We are just, I think something has to be done.
नहीं सर,
अगर नॉन ओवन से हो गया
सर
तो कितना कॉस्ट रिडक्शन हो जाएगा?
सर,
एंड टेक्नोलॉजी इज देयर, इट इज नॉट देयर, ऐसा नहीं है। हम तो बुढ़े हो गए, बट नया जमाने के लोग कुछ थिंक करके आगे बढ़ सकते हैं। अगर पीपी किट बन सकता है तो व्हाई नॉट शर्ट?
already textile from non-ovens to make a printed shirt. I think so 3 years before, Arvind Group, they have already taken up the project. I have seen it. So there are many entrepreneurs who are already ventures into this field.
अमिताभ बच्चन को पहना दो, चलेगा।
बस मेरी जो मैं अभी तक चुप रहा, आप लोगों की डिस्कशन सुनने के लिए मैं यही कहने जा रहा था कि अक्षय कुमार को पहना दो, कल से वो बिक जाएगा।
सर अभी देखिए, सोलापुरी चद्दर का एक जैकेट बना करके निक जोन्स को पहना दिया गया, सोलापुरी चद्दर का मार्केटिंग सेगमेंट चेंज हो गया है।
ये बात है। This is true that endorsement is a big part of the whole story. इनफैक्ट आज की नहीं है, आज से 40 साल पहले जब बॉबी फिल्म आए थे, आप याद करिए, वो शर्ट भी वैसे ही बूंदी बूंदी जो है ना, वो छोटा बड़ा मजला सब निकला था उसके बाद।
डॉक्टर अच्छी ऐसा है, मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ कि ह्यूमन साइकोलॉजी को आप कैसे प्रभावित कर सकते हैं, ये आपके ऊपर डिपेंडेंट।
बिल्कुल,
इसलिए वो आपको स्टडी करना है सर, आपके प्रोडक्ट को आप कैसे कर सकते हैं। देखिए एक मैं सिंपल सा एग्जांपल देता हूँ। वी ऑल ऑफ नो कि जो पानी हम पीते हैं, हमारी बॉडी अपने आप इम्यून सिस्टम उतना डेवलप कर लेती है। फिर भी वाटर फिल्टर्स ने अपनी कैसे मार्केट इनरोड बनाया, जस्ट डरा के सबको ना कि आप ये पानी नहीं पियोगे तो आप मर जाओगे।
बिल्कुल वैसा,
ठीक है ना सर। तो हमें भी अपने प्रोडक्ट में उसी तरह का साइकोलॉजिकल बिहेवियर, ह्यूमन बीइंग का साइकोलॉजी और बिहेवियर को भी स्टडी करके एंड एक और चीज बोलूंगा कि जितना भी आपने बोला कि इनोवेशन और क्या होना चाहिए, इनोवेशन नाउ वी हैव टू एज ए मैन्युफैक्चरर, अगर मैं मैन्युफैक्चरर आगे बनूंगा तो मैं अपनी इंडस्ट्री में आईटी टूल भी जरूर इंट्रोड्यूस करूंगा, उसको सिंक्रोनाइजेशन लेके आऊंगा, so that it have to ease my process to monitor.
And now things are easy with the technology. It is very easy now.
True sir, true sir, true sir.
एक थोड़ा सा एक आई विल जस्ट वर्मा जी आपसे एक शेयर करना चाहता हूँ. देयर इज अ क्वेश्चन वेटिंग इन द चैट बॉक्स सेज whether the central and state government subsidies are given independent of each other.
Sir, already I replied, yes, it is independent, sir.
Okay. Pehla first central government subsidy has to be approved and then
No, it is independent. He has replied.
Yeah. Independent.
Okay, sure. Any other questions?
Sir, I have one question.
Yeah.
Sir, हमने अभी subsidies देखी. Sorry, I am asking in Hindi. Just sir said. So considering that, we have seen many subsidies for the industries which will go for production activity, or we can say large scale of production in textiles or any other field. There is one more area, sir, where we need kind of funding, that is trading, or we can say a wholesaler kind of activity. Is there any source of funding for them also? Traders or wholesalers?
Yeah.
Startup funding is there.
मैं पूरी इंफॉर्मेशन के बगैर बोलना उचित नहीं समझता हूं, बट यस, एमएसएमई की आप साइट में जाएंगे, there are some scheme for the traders also. Particularly, initially they have given Mudra scheme, but as of now, I don't think so. It is continuing after 31st March. It will continue Mudra loan. Particularly, it was for a small traders, and thereafter they have given some schemes are there. So you have to see the website of MSME industry. MSME or Ministry of Commerce also.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Actually, for taking the information, the kind of facility being provided, whosoever government is, whatever the government department is providing, you have to refer their website also. All the information is available on their respect websites.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, one another question is there. Sir, can you please focus on subsidy provided for agrotextile?
See, already I had told, as of now, 15% capital incentive is available for the under 8F, which for technical textile item. Technical textiles means all 12 kind of items are there, which include agrotextiles also.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Now the chat box is empty. So, dear all participants, from now up to 2 p.m. there is a lunch break, and afternoon session will start from 2 p.m. onwards. So always have to rejoin again session at 2 p.m. Thank you very much. So we will meet very soon at 2 p.m. to enhance our knowledge through this MDP Entrepreneurship Development in Textile. Thank you very much.
Thank you to all.
Which, for example, this stenter is being supplied to the top and top middle segments, whereas this embroidery machine can be targeted to middle end segment, and also this rapier loom, which can be targeted at the middle segment in the market. The cost differential you can look at, if a stenter by Inspiron is sold as 2.5 crore or 2.75 crore, the best stenter manufacturer in the world by brand name will be selling at 3.5 crore. But again, when you compare it and value for money wise, the Indian stenter is 16.57% more efficient in production quality as well as energy saving. So those parameters are in favor of Indian machines. Similarly, for this embroidery machine, this Indian machine is in productivity purview. It is about 1.25 crore in comparison to a 3 crore Saurer or lesser base machine, and it is 15% more efficient, productive than the international competitor. The third one, which is in the incubation stage, is still at par with the global product in terms of quality as well as in terms of costing. So this is yet to be experienced by the customer, and the branding costing is something that we need to factor in. The customer experience, while we were discussing about the customer need analysis, your continuous effort in knowing your customer is very essential. And this stentor, while I'm talking about, this stentor was initially launched in 2012 in India ITME International Textile Machinery Exhibition, and the stentor was not having that good aesthetic value. But over the period of 4-5 years after 2012, they developed it further, and performance-wise was good, but aesthetic-wise it was modified to a level that the customer not only shown their satisfaction on its performance, but also in its appearance. The product is highly accepted by the international as well as the domestic customers, whereas the brand perception is improving. For example, this product, which was initially pitched into the market, it was the Indian customers were not willing to pay even 2 crore rupees, but now it is more than 2.5 crores, right? So this product, I would say that in the life cycle, it is at the point of inflection for the manufacturer. And if we are to say that it will have a huge growth in the coming time period, it will be witnessed. We will be the living example of that. These two other products, they are yet to be commercially brought out into the market because there are some hindrances to their market potential, because the embroidery machine that we have just presented, the company has taken huge amount of time in doing R&D. For example, this embroidery machinery was conceptualized in 2009. The patent was filed in 2010. While the patent could be granted to them in 2019 after a long gap of 10 years, the entrepreneur himself have invested their huge working capital into it. They had even taken a loan and committed an NPA. So this is another risk as an entrepreneur. We need to look into that. If we are investing some amount of money into the business, we need to take it as a bet that not entire capital of your hard-earned savings or hard-earned your equity partners should be invested to a level that you are not able to recover the costing, right? The third product, which is under the incubation stage, it's under development. Like I mentioned that you need to be in tandem with the requirement of your client. When we started this product for research and development in 2014, the basic parameter was having a rapier loom of running speed of 450 RPM. While the product was ready in the prototype form, it was running successfully, we realized that the consumer or our client's demand has raised up to 600 RPM. So we have invested time, money, the product was out, but we could not commercialize it. So now the talk is that, okay, we should go for a higher version. Even before we launch it into the market, we need to be able to fulfill our client's demand, which is changing rapidly. Here are some of the testimonials of these customers. When you are in talks with your customers, they will provide you the valuable feedback, whether they experience the right product or it was requiring some changes. They have achieved certain accolades from industry associations like CII or even a TMMS platform. The testimonials are something that gives you the brand image, which is recognized not only in the domestic market, but also the overseas market. The next product, it's an Indian patent, like I mentioned earlier. The patent was granted in 2019. It was also the second runner-up award winner in Innotex 2018. And this Innotex platform is a platform which is run by our user industry. For example, Confederation of Indian Textile Industry is the host of this event, and having recognized at such a huge platform is a big recognition. The third product is a product which was developed under public-private partnership mode under the aegis of Ministry of Heavy Industry. 80% of funding was provided by Ministry of Heavy Industry, and 5 consortium members. It's again a phenomena that we have observed in small and medium enterprises, that before developing these products, as an industry association, we brought in 5 weaving machinery manufacturers in the country who were actually the competitors. We brought them on the same platform. We created a consortium, and that consortium has invested 20% of the product cost of development.
So thank you very much, sir, for your informative and wonderful session and sharing your knowledge and experience with us in terms of customer versus market. There is a heart attack. Please 1 minute. Sorry. So you have discussed, sir, opportunities for India in textile, for future perspective, what India will do in terms of textile entrepreneurship. So we are very much confident that you have imparted valuable knowledge and experience to our participants. Now the session is open for questions. If you have, please let me open chat box. Chat box is open for you to write the question. Rakshit sir. Shah sir, any question? Shah sir.
Sachin sir, I would like to ask one question. TMMA will encourage textile professionals to develop machineries with their own ideas. Is there any kind of support from TMMA to the in the form of development in machine by the innovators or person? If suppose I would like to develop any machines, is there any kind of support I can get from TMMA?
Okay, I would like to put it that way, Sujit ji. TMMA is basically a bridge between the industry and the government, right? So there are already research and development partners that you can target, which is probably the IITs or your own institution. You have the capability to do research and development. But the basic challenge for you is, where do you pitch in central manufacturing in Bangalore? The new product is again being developed over there. Similarly, we have a CFC Common Engineering Facility Center, which we created in Surat, which is basically to do the R&D, skill development and all. So TMMA as an organization is going to be a facilitating organization for all such activities. What we do is we provide an interface between the industry, academia and the government, and anybody, whoever is interested, they can approach TMMA. And we Ajit, TMM, like I mentioned earlier, we are like an industry association. What we can do again is TMMA provides secretarial services. You are welcome to learn something from the secretarial side, policy and strategy making for the industry and the government, how the project evaluation comes into picture. You can learn from TMMA. If your interest is towards working on technology side, industry side, business side, then again, what we can do is you can show your interest to TMMA and we can connect you to the right industry partner. So if there are available opportunities for internships, we can connect you to them.
Any question from participants? Chat box is empty now. Shall we proceed? Next session. Before last session of today's program, I would like to introduce.
Yes, somebody raised his hand.
Shah, sir. Shah.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's my pleasure to have with you for this MDP session, and I would like to thankful to our beloved Associate Dean Sir, Dr. Prakshit Sir, for giving me such a opportunity. And now we will start our session. Just let me share the screen. So today's session is on entrepreneurship in agro-textiles, basically with respect to the Shirpur region. I want to introduce myself first. I am Professor Praful Kolte, Assistant Professor, SVKM NMIMS, MPSTME Center for Textile Functionship. Now we will see the details of today's presentation. Basically, in this presentation, we will first understand the meaning of agro-textiles, how this particular textile material is utilizable in the agricultures or for the farming that we are going to study in this particular session. What are the basic necessity with respect to the farming sector, and how that necessities are fulfilled by the textile material that we will see in this session. The particular selection parameters which need to be considered for the selection of various agro-textile products for the agriculture application, and from which particular raw material that agro-textile products are prepared or made, manufactured, that also we will see in this session. Again, if you will see for what particular applications or with respect to the particular application, what are the different type of agro-textile products are there, how these agro-textile products are suitable for improving the production in the agriculture sector, that also we will focus in this session. We will also see the market size of the agro-textile, not only globally, but also in India. And basically, we will focus on the scope of this agriculture, agro-textiles in the Shirpur region, how it is going to be we can say that a boom in a Shirpur region for the agro-textiles. And also we will see the government schemes which are related to the agriculture. So this is about, in short, the summary of the today's presentation. So firstly, we need to understand what is agrotextiles. So basically the agrotextiles is nothing but the textiles which is used in the agriculture field, or you can say that horticulture field, fishery field, forestry field, for the applications or for boosting up the production quality and the protection from the adverse or climatic conditions of the various agriculture products. Basically, if you will see, these agrotextiles are divided into various areas with respect to their utilization. If you will see, the first sector or first area where the agrotextiles are going to be applicable are nothing but the agriculture sector, where this agrotextiles is used, agrotextile products are used to protect the agrotextile products from the sunlight, also protect it from the physical damage, or you can say that improve the water retention which is required where there is a unavailability or scarcity of the water. Secondly, if you will see the aquaculture, in this, the agrotextiles basically utilize for the fishing nets to avoid the ultraviolet, to avoid the effect of ultraviolet radiation on the, you can say that, fishes and the living organisms in the aquarium. If you will see the third area, that is horticulture. In this horticulture also, we are utilizing the agrotextiles for protecting the products, agrotextile product, from the birds, attack of the bird, then various organisms, insecticides, various organisms, insects, and other things, which will damage the product of the horticulture product in the horticulture area. If you will see with respect to the forestry, to avoid the erosion of the soil, also to improve the life of the plants, to protect them from the various, you can say that, problems. Also, we are utilizing the agriculture products in the forestry area. And if you will see the animal husbandry, that with respect to the animal kingdom, the various belts which are utilized for the detection of animals, identification of the animals in milk industries, the filter fabrics are utilized for filtering the milk to improve the milk productivity, to improve the milk giving capacity of the animal. Various agrotextile products are also used. Also, to avoid, to reduce the mud on the cattle path and trails, we are utilizing the underlays, which will protect the animal from the mud and the diseases which are generated by that mud. So in short, these are the various areas where the agrotextiles are going to be used. If you will see the necessity or the need of the agrotextiles with respect to the agrotextile product, basically the agrotextile product are necessary to boost up the productivity and efficiency of the agrotextile material. If you will see, these agrotextile products nowadays are essential due to the continuous industrialization. Due to the industrialization, the pollution will be increases. That may be the air pollution, that may be the water pollution, that may be the chemical pollution into the farm. And to avoid or reduce the percentage of that pollution, we need to utilize the agro-textile product. Continuously, the population is going to be increases, and which create the pressure on the agriculture field to increase or to satisfy their needs. And due to that, it is necessary to utilize the agro-textile product in the agriculture sector. If you will see, there are some natural resources like that of your water, land, and energy. These are limited in sources, limited sources. And due to the increasing industrialization and the population, that will create the adverse effect on them, which will directly affect the agriculture sector. And there is a necessity to improve or to improvise the technology in the agriculture sector, so that with minimum use of water, land, and energy, we can achieve a good productivity or the good production in the agriculture sector. Due to the adverse effect of the industrialization and the increase in the population, there is a continuous change in the climatic condition, which will significantly affecting on the agriculture sector. Also, it will create the ecological problems. Due to this also, it is necessary to utilize the agriculture, it is necessary to utilize the agro-textiles in the agriculture sector. Basically, these agro-textile products are utilized in the agriculture sector with respect to the certain parameters. Some of the parameters are mentioned here, like that of the type of soil. Throughout the world, the type of soil is different in the different region, and therefore the utilization of these agro-textiles are also changing with respect to the type of soil. Then the production which is required for the crop or the agriculture products, basically the climatic conditions are also affecting. And with respect to that, if you will see, we are selecting the agro-textile product. Then the main reason behind this is nothing but the main reason behind the use of agro-textile product is nothing but the limitations of, you can say that, the water sources. So the deep irrigation which is required for the agriculture agro-textile product, that we need to utilize at a certain level, so that the utility of the water can be reduced for the agro-textiles. If you will see the basic characteristics of this agro-textile product with respect to their utilization, is nothing but the protection to give the protection of the agro-textile product with respect to the climatic condition, resist the attack of microorganisms, birds, and bacteria. Also avoid the effect of UV rays, solar radiations on the agriculture products. If you will see, the high potential to retain the water into the soil, and with minimum utilization of water, we can also perform a good good farming, protect the agriculture products with, and also reduce the utilization of fertilizers and pesticides with respect to avoid or decrease the pollution which is generated due to the utilization of chemicals and fertilizers in the agriculture sector. Also, the dimensional stability and the flexibility of the agrotextile product are very good, and therefore they can be utilized versatile, that they can be utilized, you can say that in a very efficient manner, and it will be versatile in nature due to the dimensional stability and the flexibility. So these are nothing but the various characteristics of the agrotextile with respect to their products. These agrotextile products are basically prepared with the help of man-made fibers. Because of the favorable price of the man-made fiber as compared to the natural fiber, it is also easy for the transportation. It is also, you can say that, mold or set with respect to the requirement. The space which is required to store this product which are made from the man-made fibers are also less, and the durability of the fibers or durability of the agrotextile product as compared to natural products are quite good. And therefore, with respect to the natural fiber, we are going to manufacture the agrotextile product from these man-made fibers according to the type and the utilization. The utility of the fiber can be varied. The suitability of this fiber with respect to that particular product can be judged, and on the basis of that, they are going to be utilized for the production of the agrotextile product. Basically, if you will see the various agrotextile products, many agrotextile products are available nowadays in the market with respect to their different utilization. Some of them are mentioned here, for example, the shade net, mulch mats, insect nets, fishing nets, bird protection nets, and crop cover. With respect to their names, we can also analyze its function. Basically, these agrotextile products are available or used worldwide, and therefore their global market is quite huge, approximately 905 crores US dollar in 2020, and it will be continuously increasing with a CAGR 4.7% up to 2028 globally. And if you are concerned with the market of the agrotextiles in the India, that will be near about 130 crores US dollar, which can be increases with a CAGR 5.5% up to 2025. So basically, if you will see the rate of utilization of this agrotextile product in the India is quietly increasing. We can say that conclude from this particular two figures. There also the quite improved farming techniques are used nowadays, basically in the Shirpur region of the Maharashtra, or you can say that North Maharashtra region. We can see the utility of these agrotextile product in the Shirpur region. Basically, the Shirpur region is famous for the cultivation of papaya, then banana, where the utilization of agrotextiles is continuously increasing day by day. We can see in the first image the green shade which is under construction. This green shade is basically utilized for the nursery purpose to provide a good quality of plants for the good quality of plants for the farming purpose. That maybe you can say that the papaya plants, that may be a watermelon plant, that may be banana plant, that may be brinjal plant, and other plant nursery, other plant production is performed in this green shade. The practical utility of the agrotextile for the covering of the fruit, for example, the papaya, we can observe here. This is also the one of the picture in the nearby Shirpur farm, where this agrotextiles is used for covering the fruits to avoid the effect of sunlight and the radiations from the sunlight on the, you can say that, to reduce the effect with respect to the fruits, so that the fruits can be avoided from the damage. And this utility is continuously, the utilization or the utility is continuously increasing. We will see such experience of the utilization of agrotextile product in the Shirpur region by the local farmers in the local language. So a short case study is mentioned here with the interaction and the experience of the local farmer about the utilization of green shade in the farm. So we will see this.
हाऊस चा जो शेड आहे या ग्रीन हाऊस शेड बद्दलची आपण थोडक्यात या ठिकाणी माहिती जाणून घेऊया. सर, या ठिकाणी आपण हा जो ग्रीन हाऊसचा व्यवसाय आहे, हा व्यवसाय आपण किती दिवसापासून या ठिकाणी करतात?
नमस्कार सर, मी प्रवीण चौधरी, राहणार खर्दे, तालुका शिरपूर, जिल्हा धुळे. हे माझे भाग्योदय ग्रीन हाऊस करून आपलं कंस्ट्रक्शन आहे. या ठिकाणी आम्ही 5 ते 6 वर्षापासून हा व्यवसाय करतो आहोत. या व्यवसायाअंतर्गत आम्ही शेतकऱ्यांना व्यवस्थित निरोगी रोपं देण्याचा प्रयत्न करत असतो, जेणेकरून शेतकऱ्यांना आधुनिक शेती करण्याला फायदा होत असतो.
याबद्दलचा आपला अनुभव कसा आहे?
अनुभव सांगायला गेलो तर या ठिकाणी जी रोपं तयार करतो आपण, या ठिकाणी आपण हे जी नेट वापरले आहे, ग्रीन नेट आहे. नर्सरीसाठी जे वापरतो आपण ग्रीन नेट वापरतो, आणि शेती करण्यासाठी आपण पांढरी नेट वापरतो. पांढरी नेट ही 50% वापरतो, आणि नर्सरी व्यवसायासाठी आपण 75% नेट वापरत असतो.
ग्रीन हाऊसचा जो आपला हा शेडचा एरिया आहे, हा एरिया किती आहे?
20 आर म्हणजे अर्धा एकर आहे.
अर्धा एकर आहे. ओके. या 20 आरला म्हणजे अर्धा एकरला आपल्याला जवळपास एक अप्रॉक्सिमेटली खर्च किती लागलेला आहे?
मला या ठिकाणी जवळजवळ 12 ते 13 लाख रुपये खर्च लागला आहे.
यामध्ये ग्रीन नेट आणि पाईप यांचा सगळ्यांचा,
पाईप, साईडची सगळी नेट वगैरे, कंस्ट्रक्शन वगैरे सगळा खर्च, मजुरी वगैरे.
ओके. या ग्रीन नेट हाऊसचा फायदा तुम्ही सांगू शकता?
या ग्रीन हाऊसचा फायदा असा होतो, एक म्हणजे आपल्या शेतकऱ्यांना निरोगी रोपं मिळतात. दुसरा म्हणजे आपल्याला एक कमी क्षेत्रामध्ये जास्तीत जास्त आपल्याला इन्कम सोर्स होऊन जातो.
यामध्ये आपण कोणकोणते उत्पन्न घेऊ शकतो?
उत्पन्न घ्यायचं तर माझा हा नर्सरी व्यवसाय आहे. मी या ठिकाणी फक्त रोपं तयार करतो, आणि उत्पन्न शेतकरी घेणार असेल तर त्यांना देखील शेतकऱ्यांना पण घेता येतं, पण त्यासाठी वेगवेगळ्या व्हरायट्या लावावं लागतात, ते करावं लागतं. आम्ही या ठिकाणी सर्वप्रथम आता जानेवारी महिन्यापासून तर आम्ही पपईचे रोप तयार करतो आहोत. इथं पपई गेल्यानंतर आम्ही मिरचीचा सीजन घेऊ, मिरचीनंतर टमॅटो घेऊ, आणि परत वांगी वगैरे आमचे चालत असतात.
बरं, म्हणजे तुम्ही ॲक्च्युली जे रोपट्यांचं उत्पन्न आहे ते घेता.
हो.
आपण जर समजा यामध्ये उत्पन्न घेतला तर त्याचा सुद्धा काही एक तुम्ही अंदाज सांगू शकता कितीपर्यंत?
याच्यामध्ये जर फार्मिंग करायचं जे ठरवलं फार्मिंग करायचे जर असेल तर सगळं व्यवस्थापन जर व्यवस्थित राहिलं तर आपल्याला जास्तीत जास्त उत्पन्न मिळू शकतं.
काही अप्रॉक्सिमेटली काही व्हॅल्यू सांगू शकता तुम्ही अर्ध्या एकरामध्ये जर म्हटलं तर?
अर्धा एकरामध्ये माझ्या अंदाजे जर व्यवस्थित जर संगोपन केलं पिकाचं तर जास्तीत जास्त आपण 6 ते 7 लाख रुपये काढू शकतो
पर इयर.
पर इयर.
बर,
पर इयर नाही, 6 महिन्यामध्ये.
6 महिन्यामध्ये 6 ते 7 लाख रुपये एवढं उत्पन्न. ओके. ग्रीन हाऊसचा जो खर्च आहे, समजा 12 ते 13 लाख खर्च सांगितला, हा ग्रीन हाऊसचा खर्च तरी किती दिवसांमध्ये तुम्ही रिकवर करू शकता?
रिकवर करायला झालं तरी 1 वर्षात होऊ शकतं. फक्त निसर्गाने साथ दिली पाहिजे.
बरोबर.
म्हणजे जेणेकरून
काही नैसर्गिक
वादळ
आपत्ती
वगैरे
नाही
नाही
यायला
यायला पाहिजे. आणि तर शेतकऱ्यांनी जर व्यवस्थित आपलं रोपं जर व्यवस्थित घेतली तर आपल्याला ते कव्हर होऊन जातं 1 वर्षामध्ये, 1-1.5 वर्षामध्ये कव्हर होऊन जातं.
यामध्ये आता हा जो खर्च आहे आणि ही जी मेहनत आहे, या मेहनतीचं एक फळ आपल्याला जे मिळते हे ॲक्च्युअली नैसर्गिक म्हणजेच निसर्ग आणि त्यासोबतच तुमची मेहनत या दोन्ही गोष्टींवरती डिपेंड आहे.
बरोबर.
बरोबर आहे. आता तुम्ही आमचे जे शेतकरी
So this is related to the experience of the local farmer in the Shirpur region. So basically, I will summarize these experiences in short in a English language. So basically, if you will see, as per the Mr. Praveen Chaudhary, the two type of nets are going to be utilized in the agro-textile sector, agriculture sector for the different purpose. So basically, if you will see, this type of green net is going to be utilized and this type of white net is utilized. So this green net having less permeability of the water as well as the less permeability of air, and this white net is having higher permeability of air as compared to the green net. Basically, this green net is utilized for the nursery purpose where we required less temperature, and this white net is utilized for the farming where we need to take actual production from the agriculture sector. Also, if you will see the cost of these two, the cost of the green shade is near about 29 square per meter, whereas the white net is near about 45 per square meter. But if you will see the costing which is required for the farming and the nursery purpose, the costing of the net is required for the farming and for the nursery purpose is quite same because of the construction of the shade net utilized for the nursery and farming. Basically, for the nursery, this tunnel type of shade net is utilized, whereas for the farming, such type of shade net is going to be utilized or shade is going to be utilized. The cloth which is required for such type of tunnel shape is higher as compared to such type of arrangement of the shade, and therefore the costing of the fabric is quite same if you will compare the both. The tentative cost which is required to build up the shade as per the local farmer, it's near about 12 to 15 lakhs, and that 12 to 15 lakhs in a half acre, and the production which is taken place in that region is quite, you can say that, suitable level. For example, according to the local farmer, near about 6 to 7 lakh you can see the production of 6 to 7 lakh can be taken in half yearly. That means if you will see in a single year itself, we can produce or we can recover the complete expenses which are required for the shade or green shade. Also, some constructional parameter he has mentioned there. For example, whenever he is going to construct this green shade, at the bottom, the completely opaque material he is going to be used to avoid the warm water, warm air to be penetrate into the shade. Here in this middle portion, he is going to utilize the white shade so that the flow of the air is quite good. And on the upper side, he is going to be utilize the green net to avoid or to minimize the effect of radiations, solar radiation on the nursery business. So nursery plant. So basically, this is all about, you can say that the green shade and the experience of the local farmer in the Shirpur region. With the utilization of agro-textiles in the Shirpur region, some of the entrepreneurs are also there to produce or they are producing the agro-textile product. For example, one of the industry, that is BK Agroplast industry, which is situated near the Shirpur region, where the mulch mats are going to be produced. You can see this one is nothing but the setup which is there in the BK Agroplast industries for the production of the mulch mat. These are nothing but the rolls of the mulch mat produced, and this one are nothing but the, you can say that, various specification of the mulch mat with their role. So these are about the entrepreneurship which is going to be developed due to the utilization of agro-textiles in the Shirpur region. Also, not only the mulch mat, but also some other entrepreneur. There is a scope for the other entrepreneur in the Shirpur region to produce the different agro-textile product. We have visited that industry of producing mulch mat, and a video of the mulch mat producing machine we have taken. We can go through shortly through this video. Here there are the calendar roller, and here we can see the particular extrusion machine which is going to produce the mulch mats. Here we are placing the you can see that the chips, polypropylene chips. Then that chips are going to be extruded through the extruder, and the mulch mats are going to be spun, and that will be, you can say that, calendar through the calendar rollers, and then finally wound on the rollers. These are nothing but the calendar rollers. So basically, the utilization of the mulch mat which is produced in the BK Agroplast industry, that will be used in the local region itself, and the other agro-textile product which are necessary here in the Shirpur region are provided by the nearby, you can say that, states like that of your Gujarat, and that particular material is produced in the, you can say that, for example, net are produced in the Garware Industries Limited, where that will be from where that will be transferred into the different region for their utilization. So basically, not only there is a scope for the agro-textile product into the Shirpur region, but also there is a scope for the entrepreneurship to produce, to manufacture the agro-textile product in the Shirpur region itself. Basically, various schemes are developed and also developing by the Indian government, and these schemes are usable or applicable to the agro-textiles to improve the utilization of agro-textile product in the agriculture sector, and also actively promote the agrotech product in India by giving some subsidies, by giving some finance for the utilization of agro-textile product, and also to improve the modern, also to improve the technology of farming and to use the modern farming techniques in the India, so that the better productivity and the quality of the agro-textile product will be there. With respect to the takeaway from the session, that is nothing but the continuous and there is a scope for the agro-textile product in the Shirpur region to improve the quality, to improve the productivity of the agro-textile product, and also there is a scope for the entrepreneurship, or there is a scope for the entrepreneurs to develop the various industries in the Shirpur region. So with this, I will conclude here, and once again thankful for providing such a nice opportunity and to say something regarding and to present some points related to the agro-textile. So thank you very much.